What's the most random sequel ever made?
What's the one? There's one where it's like it barely has anything to do with the original story. Oh, Kangaroo Jack 2, Good Day USA.
No, but that wasn't a bizarre one. Like,
Kangaroo Jack 2, Good Day USA wasn't bizarre. Mike, it was animated.
They've done that before.
No, they have not. A movie that was a hit, a live action hit movie. We're going to make the sequel, but we're going to make it animated, and we're not going to get any of the original characters. No Jerry O'Connell, no Anthony Anderson. By the way, the man who plays Anthony Anderson's character in this movie is cartoonishly black.
What does that mean?
It means like beyond him being animated.
Like, you know when you see it?
Beyond him being animated, also, he's just
like,
over the top. I'm black, y'all.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought you meant like Bebe's Kids.
No, I mean, it is also cartoonishly black like that. You know.
So Time Cop 2, the Berlin decision.
Oh, I love a good like epilogue to the title.
Yeah, but it wasn't Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Of course it wasn't. He was too busy.
Did you know that there was a sequel to The Wicker Man?
The Wicker Woman?
The Wicker Tree.
Oh.
I saw that this one might take the cake. I saw that in development is R.I.P.D. 2.
Yes, saw that.
Why?
Because Zach Harper needs to suffer a little more. This is one of his least favorite movies ever, which is surprising considering how many terrible movies he likes. Like, why is R.I.P.D. the one where he draws the line?
There was another midnight run in 1994 starting the Chris McDonald, who is famously Shooter McGavin, instead of Robert De Niro.
1 a.m. run?
No, it's just another midnight run. That's the name of it. Another midnight run.
Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo, but then Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo wasn't so great either, right? So,
no, here's another. Did you know that they made a sequel to Lawrence of Arabia?
No.
Lawrence After Arabia.
Oh, there you go. Attaboy. Here's a good one. Kindergarten Cop 2 with Dolph Lundgren.
That went like several years after, right?
Yeah. Son of the Mask was another. I remember that.
Yeah, that's with Jamie Kennedy, right?
Jamie Kennedy had a moment in this country, huh?
Yeah.
It was largely MTV driven, right?
No,
I don't
he had a
Malibu's
show.
Most Wanted.
What was the one with the X?
The Jamie Kennedy Experiment.
Yeah,
I think it was like on the WB
CW,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
It was basically like punked, right? Or like
Yeah.
Impractical Jokers or whatever.
It was very similar to the Andy Dick moment in America.
Now that's different because people actually thought Jamie Kennedy was funny. Like he was in Scream, like he had a bunch of stuff that was building as like a character actor, and it's like, oh, let's give this guy a shot as the lead. You know, either in like movies like Malibu's Most Wanted or on this television program. Andy Dick was always like, look at this quirky, weird guy, he'll do anything. No one has ever looked at Andy Dick as a leading man, despite his great cameo in Zookeeper.
I really liked the Andy Dick Show.
Did
on
you?
MTV.
Oh.
It doesn't
really
feel
fun.
like he's just been a moment though, right? Like it feels like every couple of years flares up and he's back doing something and then gone again and then back.
I remember the one scene in the Andy Dick Show where he was trying to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It just kind of reminded me of like how into publicity he was.
Did he get it? He probably could.
Probably now, I would imagine.
I think, and I could be wrong because I think we looked this up to see if we could get Boppy one once. I think all you need to do to get a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame is you need like 2 referral letters or something from people that have them and then pay like
Money.
30 grand and then like you get one. I obviously you have like a board that like says yes or no, but
like Dan could be on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for sure.
The internet says
Poppy
here that
for
there
sure.
are 2,727 stars on the Hollywood Walk
too
of Fame.
many.
By the way,
That actually seems like too small.
I can't even name that many
Really?
stars.
it's spread all over, and it's all the grossest part of Hollywood. Like every single one has various bodily fluid stains on it.
It's gross. I mean, the area itself is completely unnoteworthy.
which is kind of crazy. Like LA, this is such a big tourist trap. Clean it up a little bit.
Right. It should be well preserved. It should be an area that a lot of people want to go to. Like that and Times Square are probably the areas that are the biggest like wasted opportunities in terms of places actually being good.
No. At Times Square, they do it right. Times Square is clean. Times Square is like 8 billion cops everywhere. Times Square, like they closed off the street. They put those chairs there on Broadway. Times Square, they fixed it up. Hollywood, dangerous as hell. People get shot every single day there on that, not like in Hollywood in general. I'm talking about that actual strip right there. It is gross. Mike, Men in Black 3 or Men in Black International? Which one was worse?
I don't. Oh wait, no, I did see Men in Black 3.
Mhm.
That one was really bad. I never even worked up the want, the desire to watch Men in Black International.
I did. It was pretty bad. I'm still mad that Linda Fiorentino never found her way into any of the sequels.
Yeah,
Because they set it up at the end and then she just never came
to
back.
age in Hollywood.
So I think the reason there's so many is because there's people with so many stars. Like
What?
Gene Autry has 5 stars
No, he
on
doesn't.
the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I don't know.
Is it the same Gene Autry?
He's the only one with
Yeah.
5. Bob Hope has 4. Mickey Rooney has 4. Roy Rogers has 4. Because I guess it's for different categories. So Bing Crosby has 3. Sinatra has 3. But why can't you just have a star?
it seems based on the list of stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame that you get in for different categories. So Gene Autry is in for motion pictures, radio, recording, television, and live performance.
Radio and recording, get out of here. Get over yourself. You're
I
the
feel
same
like
thing.
Hold on
I
a
feel like
second.
the radio section of the Hollywood Walk of Fame is probably closed now. You can't get in if you're just a radio personality. Like maybe
Dan can't get in.
like Ryan Seacrest.
He had HQ.
Like Ryan Seacrest probably is the last radio personality that can get in.
No.
Howard Stern.
Elvis Duran,
Elvis Duran,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's a fair shout.
Casey Kasem.
We, like we
Well,
aren't. We don't make radio personalities like that anymore, do we?
When do you think there's going to be like
podcasts now,
the
Witty.
TikTok section of the Hollywood Walk of
that
Fame?
can't be too
Honestly,
far
You
away.
should just have a star on your wiki page now. No one goes to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Give me that little star when I
Actually,
go.
a lot of people
A
do.
lot of
A lot of people
people
go to the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
You know the worst part about the Hollywood Walk of Fame is you're walking there.
Or the
you-
murders you just said.
Well, no, the second worst part then is you're walking down there and then there'd be someone dressed in a very gross like Spider-Man outfit or like a Batman and he's got like a
Also,
gut
like
and stuff.
Times Square.
And then they try to like accost you to take a picture with them. I'm like, do not touch me. Don't touch me with those gross, grubby hands of yours.
And then they try to charge you for it.
Yes, that's the whole point.
scam.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not. The scam is you're not just anything like Spider-Man. You're just wearing a red sweater with blue pants.
Elvis Duran has a star also. Keenan Thompson just got a star recently.
Oh.
What a career for Keenan
Maybe I'm
Thompson,
back in
huh?
on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
You're not a Keenan fan?
Not at all.
Really?
Not funny.
Pierre Escargot?
None of it is funny.
He does kind
Wow.
of have one note.
None of it is funny.
But you're like a little, no offense, you're a little too old for like the
No,
Keenan.
all
and
that.
Kel.
all
Keenan and
that
Kel.
and Keenan and Kel.
I was the one that bet on Kel. I was like, Kel's going places.
You know, but no, I don't.
So you're
look,
just bitter that you
no,
picked
no,
the wrong
no,
one.
no. I don't think at the time. I don't think that you would have been the only one that was
Kel was
betting.
carrying
Kel.
that show.
Kel was
I
the
also backed
star.
Kel.
Kel was. I believe he ran into like he had some problem, like the Hollywood type problems, and then he had to, find Jesus or something, and now he's like,
Did he?
yeah, like
Where was he?
No, it was Jesus or Kel.
Either. Kel was in Mystery Men, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like Kel had like a thing a couple years ago where he like came back and was like, "Whoa, is Kel gonna be back?" And I was like, "No, just
no.
Keenan."
I got in trouble when I was little for watching. There was a Keenan and Kel scary Halloween special. And I was watching it when there was some family friend who was at our house that was too young to watch it. And it wasn't actually scary, right? Because it was on Nickelodeon. It was for children.
Are You Afraid of the Dark was scary as hell.
Well,
though.
I
Like,
got
we're
I
not
got in
gonna
trouble
pretend
for
it
watching
wasn't.
this fake scary show in front of this little kid. Maybe this is why I hate
This traces back.
And I was like, this isn't even scary because I was scared of everything too. Did you guys ever have like something you saw when you were little that scarred you, like you were too young to watch it? Because I had one when I was in 5th grade, and that ruined scary movies for me for the rest of my life.
What was yours?
I saw I Know What You Did Last Summer when I was way too young to see I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Why
And
would
it
how would that
scarred
even
me.
happen?
Again, I was at a family friend's house, and they were too old to be watching. Like I was too young to be watching it with them. They were older than me,
Oh god.
and it was terrifying.
Rosemary's Baby for me.
And Exorcist.
That's a scary.
I was
one.
37 years old.
I was thinking that was going to be on your list from yesterday.
You're older than
the-
37?
No, I like that bit. I like it when it's done well. I don't like it when it's obviously coming. Right? Like when he's like, oh, I was sobbing. I had to have the snot wiped from me. I was 42 years old. Like, okay, like we know, like as he's building it up, but sometimes it'll happen when he's telling a legitimate story, and then like there'll be a pause and they'll say,
Take a lot of pot shots at Dan when he ain't here.
No, it's smart. I mean, it's smart that you're doing it now because he probably won't listen back to these
absolutely
shows.
won't listen back.
If you do it the day before he comes back, he will probably, catch a snippet here or there. But you're smart. It stayed off social media. He probably won't find out.
And it'll get buried in Reddit because there's like 2 more shows. Still.
Reddit, they put me on their shoulders and like that. I felt like Rudy at the end of Rudy.
There wasn't all that in 2020.
Yeah, they tried to bring it back.
Just for, like, and then they failed right away.
The Mummy with Tom Cruise. Does that count as a
File.
sequel? No, terrible.
File.
I was
Wait,
so.
Tom Cruise Mummy?
Oh
Yeah.
my God!
Yeah.
No, don't
They
listen
were-
to him.
they were
Terrible.
I've
setting
only
up-
seen the original
So
Mummy.
this is when all the studios got wise to franchises where it's at. Let's build a universe.
Oh, this is the one that got canceled,
the
right?
Monsterverse.
No, it didn't get
Well, not
canceled.
canceled,
It came
but-
out.
No. But the only movie that came out from the Monsterverse was The Mummy.
And it was terrible. And
Yes,
they canceled all the rest
midway
of them.
through, like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde are here. Hey! I was like, come on, what are we doing here?
Oh yeah, Russell Crowe was there.
Yeah, it
I
was
remember there
awful.
was a really awkward press photo they put out of all the bad guys
Yeah, it
together,
was like
and it
Johnny
was
Depp.
photoshopped really weird.
Johnny Depp, like Javier Bardem, I think was one of them. I also think like not just because The Mummy was a very big disappointment, but also because what happened with Johnny Depp, that kind of just halted all their Monsterverse plans. It was a weird ending to The Mummy too, where Tom Cruise went from hero to becoming the Mummy himself.
Yes.
The
yes.
Monsterverse.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, the Monsterverse has been canceled, so but the Monsterverse was going to be around. It was like the Avengers for old Universal
Like
monsters.
Wolfman and
Yeah,
like
Tom Cruise was the lead monster.
Yeah.
I have a question because like I was changing through. Well, I guess not changing through the channels. I was like on Peacock or something, and I was like, I've never seen The Mummy. I've been on the ride at Universal Studios.
The Brendan
1,000
Fraser
times.
Mummy? You've never seen that one?
Never seen it.
It's so. I mean, it probably doesn't hold up well, but it
It's-
was so good like
At the
20
time.
years ago.
Well,
At
so
the
like the
time, it
ride
was
is
good.
great. So I'm like, I've never seen it. There's I think The Mummy 2,
too,
there's
yeah.
Scorpion King, and then they
Mhm.
brought it back with like Tom Cruise. I'm like, I should probably get into this.
There was also a Mummy with Jet Li.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, where
That was
Jet-
the one in China,
third one,
right?
Yeah,
Jet Li had a moment.
he did.
The Tomb of the Dragon Emperor
Yeah,
or
Jet
something
Li,
like that.
I believe Jet Li fell very ill.
I mean, Jet Li,
Which
by the
which
time he
forced him to
crossed
retire.
over like
Yeah.
many Asian box office
He was
stars,
older already.
He was already older,
He
like
was in
Jackie
that
Chan. And
Lethal
like,
We- he was a baddie in
Mhm,
Lethal Weapon.
3. Yep. Goosebumps, man. I remember the first
It
time
was
I saw
4.
Jet Li.
Lethal Weapon 4.
Oh,
That was the one
4?
with Chris Rock.
With Chris Rock, that's right.
Yeah, where they were trying to set the table for
Yeah.
more Lethal Weapons, and it just didn't happen. Yeah, Jet Li did have a moment. Romeo Must Die.
Oh, yeah.
File.
Absolutely.
Great soundtrack.
DMX
Jet-
ass off.
Jess, you mentioned movies that age poorly, and we were talking about Jamie Kennedy earlier, and I said to Billy, I think Malibu's Most Wanted aged poorly by the time it was finished shooting. Like it is the movie with the quickest shelf life.
What is it about?
It's about like privileged white kids that listen to rap and so they act urban. And then his father, trying to scare him straight, hires like 2 thugs when they're just Hollywood actors to
That is
bully him or something.
my least favorite genre in film is suck up white guy that all of a sudden gets introduced to black culture.
Yeah.
It's very rarely ever been done well. Like Bringing Down the House to me
Oh.
is like one of the worst things I've ever seen.
But like it's not like they made Bringing Down the House or what was the other Malibu's Most Wanted thinking like this is gonna win awards. It's like let's just capitalize and make money.
Yeah, and it did. It got $164 million at the box office.
Which one?
Bringing Down the House.
Man, the power of Steve Martin and Queen Latifah.
Yeah, Steve Martin also.
Yeah.
Queen Latifah had like a big
Martin
like
also.
moment too, right? Wasn't like that around the time of Taxi or whatever that came out?
Oh,
also?
Taxi File. Did it on Cinephobe.
Really?
The greatest opening scene in the history of cinema. You know what I'm talking about, Billy? With the bike?
How did it start?
It's like a bicycle messenger or a mysterious. We don't know because there's a helmet. We don't see this bicycle messenger is jumping over obstacles and bouncing off of things and riding through the subway and like across the bridge. And I believe Crazy in Love is the song that's playing. And then like the bicycle messenger who just biked from like Chelsea Piers in Manhattan all the way to Red Hook, Brooklyn.
I'm assuming that's far.
Very far.
Yeah.
And like
Nice greenway, though.
skids into
You
a
can ride on the Brooklyn Bridge now without foot traffic.
nah.
Wasn't Giselle in that
Nah.
movie too? Wasn't
Yeah.
she like
Yeah,
the
she
villain or
was.
something? Or am I
Giselle,
remembering that wrong?
Giselle was the leader of a gang of sexy Brazilian bank robbers. they get foiled.
Wow,
But
they were
anyways,
Brazilian?
They were Brazilian. They were speaking in
Cliche.
Portuguese.
Wow.
So, but anyway, the bicycle rider skids into a warehouse. Someone's got like a timer. It's like 12 minutes, a new record. I'm like, what? And then the helmet is revealed. It's Queen Latifah. It's file. I strongly urge everyone to watch the movie.
A rewatch.
If it's not worth a rewatch, it's definitely worth a listen to Cinephobe, the podcast where Zach Harper and I watch movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes and try to ascertain whether they're accurately poorly rated or maybe, just maybe, they didn't get a fair shake. That's Cinephobe. It's produced by Anthony Mage. You get it wherever you get podcasts, right here on the LeBatard and Friends Network. And this month we're doing Denzel month. Damn, let me get the. Yeah, we're doing Denzel month this month. We got one last one that comes out tomorrow featuring Juju Gotti as our special guest.
Can I bring up a minor bone to pick with you about Cinephile?
I don't. Well,
Cinephobe,
you can
whatever.
as many bones as you want with Cinephile. Let me know.
So Cinephobe. Well, yeah, I haven't been on it, but also Cinephobe sometimes is longer than the actual movie. So it's like I could just watch the movie.
Well, there's two things. One, very rare. It happens, but very rare.
Not really.
No, very rare that we're going shorter than the movie.
Oh, yeah.
You
More
cut
like
me off
regularly, yes.
Yeah.
You cut me off. But the other thing is, the idea isn't that this is going to be a digester quicker than the movie. The idea is that the movie sucked, but you don't have to sit through something that sucks. You could sit through something that's funny and engaging and reminds you of other things and references and stuff like that. The other thing is, Cinephobe was not meant to be consumed. I hate when people say, it's too long. Like, I didn't ask you to sit there for 2 hours and listen to it. Like, you listen to it while you're in your car. You listen to it in the shower, like Witty. You listen to it while you're working out. That's how you do it. A little bit here, a little bit there. Next thing you know, the week is over. A new episode has arrived, and now you're ready to start another one.
I like that explanation.
I think it's funner to listen to people shit on movies than it is to watch the movies most of the time, especially if they're not very good. Like, there's another movie podcast. I won't say the name because if it's not on our network, but they make fun of movies from a feminist lens. And it's very, very funny. And I would rather just, a lot of the movies I've never seen before, they're all like 90s flicks for the most part. I would rather just listen to them rip apart this movie than actually sit down and have to focus on watching a movie that I know is going to suck.
By the way, making fun of things is like how I overcompensated for getting through scary movies. So like I wouldn't be super scared. I would just laugh like, this is so bad. Like I remember, I think it was like The Exorcism of Emily Rose or something. Like when it saw like in theater, and I'm like, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't pee myself in this movie.
Dude, that
theater.
scene where she's like holding the barbed wire and just like turning.
Was that the one like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2,
Yeah, and
3, 4, 5, 6.
she does the same. She kind of does this.
Relax.
Wow.
Get a priest in here already. We need to
She-
exercise this woman.
She kind of
What was
does
the
the
joke?
same voice in White Chicks when she goes like Tina the Talking Tummy.
You've never seen White Chicks.
What?
Never seen
Oh
White
my
Chicks.
God. Vile. That was one of the early Cinephobe movies.
Wait, a mean file on White Chicks?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You know it's a
Yeah,
remake
I
of
would-
That's another movie that aged poorly by the end of its shooting.
No.
That
See,
turns the genre that I hate the least on its
upside
head.
down.
And it immediately
Yeah.
becomes my favorite genre.
Episode 9 of Cinephobe. That's how early it was.
Billy,
Wow.
to make fun of a scary movie, though, you have to like have some perspective about it. And when you're actually scared by something, you can't make fun of it. You know what I mean? Like,
It was overcompensation. Like I
Then
was
there's-
hiding it.
well, that's true too. Like, you always watch scary movies with people who are trying to make fun of it, but you can tell they're actually scared, and they're like, "Ha, that wouldn't really happen." Like, you don't do that, but you can tell that they're terrified, and it just makes it scarier because
Yeah,
people you're
but
watching with are scared.
you want to know the scariest part about seeing The Exorcism of Emily Rose? I saw it at Kendall Village, which is like this theater down here, right?
You have to drive on Chrome Avenue to
Maybe
get there.
No. Yeah, you're
That would be the scariest
your
part.
cousin's lucky that she didn't disappear in the Everglades yesterday.
Or on
Honestly.
Chrome.
So
I agree.
I'm walking out of the theater. It was like a scary movie, right? I think it was out, but I don't remember. No, I didn't go to the diner. But when I walked out, and it was very late. We were probably getting out at like 1 or 2 in the morning because it was like a late movie. So you're walking in between the buildings out to the parking garages, and there was just someone standing on the top floor of the garage, like the girl from The Ring that we saw on Only in Date, just looking down on everybody with long black hair, like dressed in all dark. And like if it was probably like 5 to 7 years later, it would be like a huge thing because of like what's gone on in the movie theaters.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, holy crap, like get me home. Like I can't go to sleep now.
Get me home tonight.
That's terrifying.
It's not? That's not how the song goes?
It's Take Me Home Tonight.
Oh, whatever. Same shit.
Yeah.
Also, the show I was talking about is called The
Tomato
Bechdel Cast,
potato.
and they did an episode on the Da Vinci Code. Are those Cinephobe worthy, or
They're not-
were they super popular?
I think they were very popular. I don't think they weren't critically acclaimed because the critics were like, this is a very bad interpretation of the book, but it wasn't like 12%. It was like 52%.
No,
man.
the first Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks is 25%.
Really?
Wow.
57% with the audience.
back,
I mean,
baby.
if you do a Catholic month, please have me on as a guest.
Catholic month. Actually, I'm putting that on the list.
I mean, have you ever?
What else cracks Catholic month?
Ooh, keeping the faith.
I mean, all the
Mel Gibson
but that was
movies.
actually too good.
Every Mel Gibson
it's
movie.
all
Jesus
Mel
Christ
Gibson.
Superstar?
The Passion of the Christ.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's probably too highly rated.
Yeah, they're too highly rated. Controversial. Too.
Have you ever? I mean, you would never do a spinoff, but have you ever thought about doing like TV shows that are like not great, but you think they are? Because there's a show that I've been watching that's like super old that I feel like you would like because I think we have similar sense of humor, but it wasn't like huge, which is The Real Husbands of Hollywood.
Oh,
have you ever seen it?
With Kevin Hart?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so great. I love that show.
It's if it were on, if it were streaming or like on YouTube, it would have been more popular than it was.
Well, that's what I'm watching. It's streaming now, but like you have to go look for
Yeah,
it.
on BET Plus or some shit.
Billy, Amin and I did have an idea earlier this week, which we are going to trademark now, which is for another show on the Metal Arc Podcast Network called Telephobe, where we review television series or just episodes or
episodes.
seasons.
It would be an episode probably, or a
'Cause, like,
season maybe. Yeah.
You know, like there's some shows that have a good run but a bad season. Like Sons of Anarchy famously has a really bad fourth season. Friday Night Lights, the second season, it was during the writer's strike. It kind of fell off a cliff. There was like a weird murder plot.
Don't you dare back there.
But you can't really do the Rotten Tomatoes thing, so you kind of have to find your own like bad shit.
Season
somewhere.
finale of The Sopranos.
A lot of people
Or
don't like
series-
it.
I
series
liked it.
finale.
Series finale.
I liked it.
I think history's look back on it.
I know, but what I'm
kinda-
saying is that at the time it got absolutely roasted, but perhaps we have to ascertain whether it got a fair shake.
Me and Jeremy were talking about this on Monday about
Care Bear.
Seinfeld, the Seinfeld finale, which I was like grown up enough for, right? I was like 19, I believe, when the Seinfeld finale happened. And I told Jeremy the craziest thing was everybody hated it, but it was actually brilliant because they worked.
Do it. It's the only way you can do it.
They worked in every conspiracy theory that people had for months about
Exactly.
the finale. They're gonna die. The finale. They're gonna, Jerry and Elaine are gonna. Yeah, that they thought they were all gonna die. That's why they did the plane crash scene. They thought that Jerry and Elaine were gonna get back together. They did that. Like they addressed each conspiracy theory without actually committing to any of them. And then they brought back every single bit character, which is genius because the thing that people didn't understand about Seinfeld was while we love the show, we love the characters. If you knew these people in real life, they were awful people. You wouldn't want to be friends with Jerry or George or any of them. And so like
Maybe Kramer.
dangerous
Kramer the
game.
character. Kramer the character.
Come on, guys. What are we doing
What
here?
are we doing?
No, man, like he takes advantage of you and like he's
weird.
These are not good friends, man. They're not good friends. And so that was the whole purpose of the episode. It's like, yeah, these people that you've loved this whole time, you've been loving awful people.
The only thing that with that, and sometimes seasons of Curb as well, is that the conceit is so hokey that it's difficult to buy in. Like the Good Samaritan law, like that's such a specific thing to make the entire conceit for your show.
No, but at the time that was a thing.
Now, Good Samaritan laws were real.
Really?
That was a real
Yeah,
thing.
that's a thing. At the time, that was a thing.
Like it sounds crazy to us now, but back then there was a couple of incidents where literally someone was getting mugged or stabbed, and
Back
people
then,
had like a camera.
There was an expectation back in the day that people were good.
Yeah,
We don't have that anymore.
How quaint.
yeah.
No, we never have.
But no, what are you talking about? Curb, hokey.
No, sometimes Curb is very hokey conceits. You buy like the whole season where it's like dueling coffee shops. Like it's a very hokey conceit. Now, I think they pulled that one off pretty well. But there's some seasons of
not-
Curb where you look back on it and go,
It's not hokey. The whole point is that Larry is so petty about this one little thing and he has the money and wherewithal, because that's the thing you got to remember. Larry's still Larry David, rich as shit off of Seinfeld.
That
so,
they play that very well on the show, though. They don't let you on just how rich Larry
Yeah,
David
he's
is.
ridiculous.
Larry David is one of the richest people in the history of Hollywood, and yet
TV.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, like, he owns a part of the most successful syndication show of all time.
Yeah.
That show makes billions of dollars in syndication. And they don't let you on. Like, he's still kind of like quibbling about how expensive a sweater is.
He drives a Prius, or like in later seasons, like the small BMW electric car, or whatever. Like it's very subtle. But again, Larry is rich as shit. So it's very conceivable that he would be wronged by a small establishment, and rather than just like write it off.
But he would probably just make an offer to Mocha Joe to buy his coffee chain.
No,
that's not petty.
That's not
I know,
Larry.
but
his whole character is that he's just a petty, like, he just focuses on these little tiny
Curb's
things
not for
and
you.
can't let anything go.
Yeah.
No, I love Curb.
No, it's not
I'm
for
just
you.
saying, like,
No,
the
let's take a
conceit
vote. Let's take a
sometimes
vote.
it's like
On the poll, Guillermo.
even
It's
like
Curb for Witty,
the
now it's
even
not.
like the Fatwa season is just like, I mean, it's a decent idea, but it's like, ugh,
That
God,
one lost
like
me to the point that I didn't care about the payoff. By
Come
the end.
on, man.
I didn't watch the last 3 episodes of it.
That was the Lin-Manuel Miranda
Yes, it was.
cameo season, right?
And he
that
was-
was my favorite Lin-Manuel Miranda
He plays
role,
a dick
including
so
Hamilton.
great. He plays such a dick so great.
It was perfect. And by the way, one of my favorite scenes in that. Now that was the first season back after the long layoff, right? The first couple episodes were rocky. I was like, I don't know. And then they got to the scene with the buffet, and he let the Iranian gentleman cut in line, and like Larry's like, come here. Who among us hasn't gone to the buffet, gone back to the seat, and come back for seconds? He should not wait in line like the rest of us. He should be able to he gives this whole passionate speech because he's trying to get out of this fatwa. I thought it was a brilliant season by the end of it. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, absolutely. He plays himself very well. And look at me, Louie.
Someone listened to the Greg Cudi show with Greg Cudi this week. I gave my Lin-Manuel Miranda takes on it.
What was it?
Well, I put Hamilton. I did my top 5 musicals.
Wow.
So people will go listen to it. Just give us like 5 through 3, or give us like 5, 3, and 1.
Well,
so then people have to go to
I'll tell
2
you,
and 4.
I'll tell you
Can't give away
that
one.
Hamilton was on my OLI.
Okay.
And Hamilton's on my OLI because I think it became so popular. First of all, I didn't
You know
listen
5
to
other
Hamilton.
things Lin-Manuel Miranda has done.
No, it's not a Lin-Manuel Miranda top 5. It's a musical top
Okay.
5. Hamilton, I didn't hear. I mean, it didn't come out till I was like in my 20s, so it wasn't. I didn't have it for my whole life, like the other musicals that made my top 5 list. So that's one. It doesn't have like a childhood connection to it, like I do with. Here's a spoiler: Jesus Christ Superstar, a musical that I absolutely love. But the other thing is that like Hamilton reached like peak pop culture saturation. Tony,
At least, how did you even see that?
I don't even have a mic. What do you want me to do?
Well, there's cameras
I can tell that
everywhere and
you're
monitors.
doing shit behind me and being a
That's
jerk.
not true.
Wow, Tony.
Hamilton reached like peak pop culture saturation too quickly and became like just too ubiquitous. And so it's just like it was too much at once, and then it got a little corny.
Did you see the
You
motion?
don't say.
Did you see the motion?
It's still a
picture?
good musical though. Like the music.
Talk to me. Don't sing to me. Talk to me.
Performances are great.
Don't sing me a movie. That's
sing me a
It's a
movie.
musical.
Yeah,
Talk
do you
to me.
understand how musicals
love-
work?
Talk to me. No,
I
talk
love
to
that
me.
it's about New York
What?
City.
Talk to me.
I saw it in New York when I moved to New York. It was great. I had a great connection with it.
No, that stuff matters. Are you mad that a musical has actually got music in it?
It's not. I'm not mad that there's musical. There's music in musicals. What I don't
I saw
like.
Bill Burr. The guy started telling jokes. What the fuck?
Be serious, sir.
Incredible the way that things are spun out of control here. What I'm saying, and Amin backs me on this, is when I want to watch a movie, I want to hear people talk. I don't want to hear people sing.
But you know what you're getting
It's
into.
a movie.
Amin, by the way, is a fraud. He likes
What?
musicals. His favorite musical is Moana.
They talk.
Lin-Manuel
They talk.
Miranda
Yeah, they talk. They talk.
music.
They have,
Musical.
my thing is this: I'm okay with musicals. I love many Disney movies.
Just like the occasional
Ridiculous.
exposition.
Just sing me the song, and then let's get back to talking.
Okay,
Yes.
but there's some musicals that are musicals
Grease,
throughout.
Grease, thumbs up. I'll
Okay.
watch Grease 100 times.
Fair. What my favorite musical of all time is Team America, World Police.
I love that too. Hey, guess what? Grease 2. I'd watch Grease 2 before Les Mis
No,
or
Grease 2 is bad. Grease 2 is damn bad.
I know.
That's Cinephobe
Vile.
eligible.
I don't know. But I'd watch it a million times over before I watch Hamilton one more time.
No.
Yes.
No, Hamilton's
Yes.
great.
Can we all just agree we love Moana though?
Moana's awesome.
Moana, you know, Amin knows every word.
I know. I found this out on Monday night. He was telling me all the musicals that he
Yeah.
likes.
No, he calmed my daughter down once by singing.
Moana, make way, make way. Moana, it's time you knew. The village of Montanu is all you need.
Rory, duet.
I don't really know the lyrics, but
Roy, you would have killed it. You would have killed it if you just came
make
in.
way.
Consider the coconut. Consider the trees. The island gives us what we need.
Each part of the coconut. That's all
Where you
need.
are.
Okay, I have a question. Jess has
Where
never been
you
happier.
are.
What?
Claire has seen that movie about 100 times within 3 days.
It's a very
It's ridiculous.
It's a very pleasant and jovial song about
We make our
not
nets on the
letting your daughter
fibers.
do anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're never
Just
you're
stay
never
ass home
leaving
and
this
enjoy
house.
it.
Yeah.
Don't walk away. Don't want to stay on the ground now.
Just even the pleasant part. And no one leaves.
That's such an ungenerous interpretation, but also it's kind of true. If you think of it that way.
I have a question. I haven't seen it yet because I haven't gotten to like the movies with my daughter yet.
Yeah.
But like, so everybody here that's seen it has children, right? You,
Yes.
Jess, don't.
Dog, yeah.
So do you go to the theater like with your friends to watch these movies, or do you like watch them at home? Because like these are children's movies.
Well, Moana I saw for the first time on Netflix, so I watched that one by myself. But no, you know what? To be honest, Billy, most Disney movie musicals I have not actually seen. I know some songs from them, like I know Under the Sea, but I don't think
never
I've
seen The Little
ever
Mermaid?
seen
You've
The Little Mermaid.
never seen The Little Mermaid?
I don't think I've ever seen Lion King.
You've never seen a Lion
Not
King?
even
But
like
I know
Broadway
Hakuna
or
Matata.
something?
I
You've never
haven't
seen Oliver and Company?
That's on my
Wow.
list that I need to see on Broadway.
Lion King?
But Jess, hang
heard
on a
it's
second.
great.
You are the age where you would have seen The Lion King as a kid.
Well, this is the problem. My sister was 3 years older than me, and she was like a freaking like child genius savant. So like by the time I was old enough, you know, to understand these movies, she was over it. She
You're
wanted
watching
to
The
watch
Exorcist
the
and
History
Emily Rose.
Channel. No, like seriously, she was watching The Mummy, and I was like 4, and that was like I probably saw The Mummy before I saw like most Disney movies. Also, for some reason, when I was really young, my favorite movie was The Santa Claus.
Oh, Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Tim Allen with a bunch of snow.
I would always ask my parents to turn on the Santa Claus, and they were like, "It's June."
You, not to be judgmental, from the stories you've told us, it sounds like you had a really bad nanny / babysitter that would let you watch all kinds of stuff.
So you
I'm saving this for therapy later,
Hold
Billy.
on.
I don't want to talk about this right now.
You didn't have
There's
the
too much to unpack.
You didn't grow up with the joys of I'm gonna be a mighty king, so enemies beware. Well, I've never
is that
seen
Lion
a
King?
king of beasts with quite so little hair.
Okay, so
I
you-
only know like the really popular Lion King ones.
You know what happened to me the other day? So like to calm my daughter down, we were playing music and we had like a kids channel on like on Spotify, right?
Yeah.
And then the Lion King came on and it was Hakuna Matata,
Yeah.
right? But it wasn't Hakuna Matata from the Lion King movie. It was Hakuna Matata from the Lion King that was done like on NBC a couple years ago. So it was
Like
Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen singing Hakuna Matata.
No, that's not.
That's from the
That's
motion
from the
picture.
motion picture. That's
There's
a live
a
action.
movie with that?
Yeah,
a
there's a
live
movie.
action.
Yeah,
one.
The
I thought
live
it was one of
action
those-
one. The live action Lion King. Yeah.
Yeah, the live action one is very weird to watch because animals can't emote, and they made them like real.
Oh, I remember we
animals.
did this on the show.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Yeah, so my daughter's super into the Lion King, and she watches that one occasionally, and it's all CGI. Well, real animals in air quotes, I guess. Because
I thought that this was like, because remember there was like a year or two ago where it was like every 2 months it was like, we're going to put a musical on NBC and it's going to be like
They
a
did a
live
Jesus
action.
Christ
Yeah,
Superstar one with
but-
Leslie Odom and John Legend. Yeah,
I'm
John Legend.
gonna tell
was
you why it
Jesus.
wasn't that, Billy, because as you know, Lion King and Disney are ABC products, so they would never put them on NBC.
Yeah,
never
I guess
put 'em
that's
on.
right. Disney got away with a lot of like, I thought that certain stories were Disney stories when they weren't.
Oh, yeah.
Disney just did
Yeah.
their own version
No,
of the story.
This was the beauty of how copyright law
Beauty
used
and
to
the
be.
Beast remake also.
So all of those stories became public domain. And so Walt Disney was like, we're going to do, like starting with Snow White, like we're
Yeah.
just going to do all these movies. But then Mickey Mouse, they kept
Yeah.
extending so he would never be public domain.
No.
Mickey Mouse
He's
is
up.
becoming public
When?
domain.
He's up.
The Steamboat
Like,
Willie
real quick.
incarnation, because I've already run it by legal. I want to do LeBatard Show Mickey Mouse collaborations.
Oh, Greg Cody in the role he was born to play.
And I'm going to apply some pressure on our CFO because I wanted to do a Popeye LeBatard Show merch collaboration because Popeye is public domain.
Wow.
But you
Does that mean we
probably-
get some sweet heat with it too?
No, but you probably have to draw your own Popeye,
gets it.
right? Like it's not the actual cartoon Popeye.
Well,
You
what
have
I
to
w-
create your own
What I was
Popeye.
going to do is like Dan as Bluto and just like different characters from the show in Popeye garb.
Popeye? Because Popeye was short.
Huh.
Yeah.
He's a short king.
Yeah, we can do that. I don't know who Olive Oil is going to be.
The
We're kind
forearms.
of Jess.
We
you
could
have to
get
speak
Jess
for all women.
on some stilts like the Savannah Bananas.
All right, we'll wrap it. How long was that?
48 minutes.
My nanny was a psychic. She saw ghosts.
Wait,
a
she
movie
saw
plot.
Ghost, the movie, or Ghosts?
That's a movie
Ghosts like
plot.
in her house.
And she told you about them?
Yes, this was my childhood.
Wow. The best part is I know there's a full song behind that somewhere. But like for now, all we got is that little snippet. I would love to do like a series of videos, Mike, where it's like people sitting around. It's like, yeah, I just came back from donating my time over at the soup kitchen. And I just, look at me, Lou.
Wait, Andrew Streeter sent me this on Twitter.
And
I was trying to find
Wait.
the Smetty Hates Children one.
wait, play it again. I didn't hear it.
Smetty hates children.
Hey, I think we should go congratulate the other team. And then turn and look. You got to break fourth one.
I am turning my back on my Cleveland Browns fandom.
It's got to include a breaking of the fourth wall as soon as you say it, and then a zoom in on the face.
I just can't, in good faith, support college football anymore because the labor is unpaid.
Where's my camera? It's right here.
Oh.
I just need to go chop wood in this cabin out in the middle of nowhere that has Wi-Fi and electricity to show how much I really care.
I was at training camp the other day.
So I was talking to my good friend, Freddie Prinze Jr.
So I was on the ice during Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final.
So I was reading this book.
I voted.
We're talking, David, about the most random sequels ever made. The movie wasn't a hit. It wasn't trying to be a blockbuster or really trying to be a franchise.
They just squeezed one more drop of, like, let's try to get one
Wayne's
more.
World 2.
Whoa.
Wayne's World was a hit.
That was a massive box office smash.
Massive hit.
Massive
Wayne's
Did it
World
smash.
do
2.
really? Did it do well in the box
No,
office?
Wayne's
Yeah.
World 2 was terrible.
Yeah. Whoa.
You're talking about Wayne's
I mean,
World 2.
easy.
I liked Wayne's World 2 better.
Wayne's World 2
No.
is good.
Yeah, Wayne stock.
That's funny.
183 million for Wayne's World.
That is a massive movie.
I always assumed it did bad in the I can't talk.
Box office?
Box office.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
because it was an SNL spinoff, and those historically
I
don't
assumed
go
it
well.
was a bomb in the box office and then became popular afterwards.
What I'm saying is, if like, did Sling Blade have a sequel? Like a movie that just
What would be the sequel to
Very
Sling
cool.
Blade?
I don't know,
Man, they
Sling
can't-
Blades.
Didn't Atlas Shrugged have a sequel? That
Did
didn't do
it?
too well.
Can't even.
Basic,
No, it would not have a sequel.
Basic Instinct 2.
Oh,
That
yes.
did that
That's
did
kinda-
exist.
Risk Addiction.
Terrible.
Anytime that you give me a colon and like another like subtitle to the movie,
I'm with that though.
How about Police Academy 2?
oh,
How many police
All the
academies
police
were
academies
There were like,
had-
what were there, 9?
I want
12?
to say 9. Yeah,
Some sort of huge amount.
Police Academy. Police Academy 2 is better than Police Academy.
I like Police Academy better.
No, Police Academy
Just
2.
because it was new.
More of a 7 guy myself.
You haven't seen 7. You didn't even know there was a 7.
There was like 11 of them, weren't
the
there?
one they went to Russia. That one with
How about Bad News Bears?
the Bad News
Goes
Bears
to
go to
Japan?
Japan?
How do you know so much about the police academy franchise.
Oh, it's
they're like all eligible.
No, famously, this was so David. When I was 8, my family moved to Sudan, and this was supposed to be the big move. We're never coming back. So we knew, look, entertainment's going to be hard up. So for months, it was just taping everything, every single movie. One of the reasons why like Star Wars is such a big thing for me is because I've watched that movie 8 billion times because it's one of the few things I had. It was Star Wars, it was Indiana Jones, it was Back to the Future, and it was the Police Academy movies.
By the way, you were right. Police Academy 7 was indeed Mission to Moscow.
See?
How about Showgirls?
Showgirls 2. There was what's it? Pennies from Heaven? Was that what?
Yes.
It was a sequel based off of one of the characters, one of the big characters. She got her own.
Not Elizabeth Berkley?
Not Elizabeth Berkley. It was Penny. Who played Penny? Roy.
That I don't remember.
Oh. Yeah, no.
Sure.
How did you tape them? Like on VHS tapes?
VHS.
So you came with a tow load. Like when you moved to Sudan, did you have a suitcase just of tapes?
Of tapes.
How did it go in customs? Like, did they say, excuse me, are you distributing?
No, they were just like, all right, whatever.
What's on these?
They're like for home movies, which is true. We recorded these movies at home. Also comic books, lots and lots of comic books. It's funny because there's all these things in popular culture where I have a lot of knowledge about, and then there's a cliff. So all these comic book movies, when I can't follow the plot line, I'm like, wait, when did this come out? This was in the comics. Like when? It was like 1997. Like that explains it. Mine all stops like 1987, 88. That's kind of
But we all have a culture cliff, don't we? Like there's a cliff with music. Like my musical taste stopped in 1990. I stopped listening to music in 1995, let's say. And so for me, that's it. Like unless I've heard it in a nightclub, that's it.
So for David Sampson,
You need
grunge
to
still
go
rules the
listen
world.
to some Harry Styles, David. You're missing out.
I can't believe you're saying that. So I got into a rabbit hole on TikTok last night, and there was a Harry Styles song that was a really good song. And I thought it was a remake. I thought I'd heard it before. But all of a sudden, just last night, I took an interest in Harry Styles.
Really?
It just happened.
And there are like thousands of videos of just people freaking out at his shows. Like you can fall into a rabbit hole that's just people in the crowd at his shows reacting to mundane things that he does. It's like I was there for like 2 weeks and then somehow TikTok has me out of it. It's weird that like your content choices are entirely decided for you on that app.
Well, the rabbit holes have changed, right? When I was younger, a rabbit hole was I'm going to stay and read one extra chapter of my book, right? You'd look to see where the chapter was going to end. All right, it's 6 more pages. That's it.
The quaint one is like you click on the video on the side of your YouTube page, right? And it's like here are like the 8 videos you could click on.
Yeah. I don't like those. I hate the autoplay. Don't make me start watching something. Let me pick it.
I like to envision you in 1995, David, just listening to Mariah Carey's Daydream and being like, there's no more new music for me.
It was
done
Visions
it all.
of Love. Visions of Love changed my life. I'd never heard a voice like that, ever. I don't know if anyone remembers that song when she sang that song in about 8 octaves. But
where she just keeps going higher and
it's a
higher
life
and
changer.
higher.
You had him listening to Mariah Carey. I had him with the flannel and the long hair and just,
Oh, no, grunge was like kind of
95?
95.
I wasn't allowed to be grunge.
No?
No, I was not allowed. Like I had to get a haircut at certain intervals and put the Docksiders on.
That didn't make you want to listen to it more? It's usually how that one works.
No, I didn't choose my rebellion with music.
What'd you choose it with?
I chose it with Line.
With what?
Lying.
Lying. Oh my God.
I thought you were going to say lime. Weird vice, but I'm down.
I thought he said lines. I was like, oh shit.
Oh, no.
On a
Still never done that.
On a very special Dan LeBatard show.
David Sampson acknowledges that he does crack.
You cracked him open. Way to go.
No. I grew up during the less than
Jude,
zero
you cut that
time.
and put it on social.
Right? You know, less than zero.
Yeah.
So I grew up during that, but no, I never saw cocaine until law school.
Really?
I never saw it in college. I went to Wisconsin. I never saw cocaine once.
Really?
Not once.
In Madison, Wisconsin.
Dude, there's spotted cow coming out the wazoo there. That's all you need.
Was that in English?
Is that
Am
a
I right,
type?
David?
Is that
Washington
a-
State?
Is that a
Wazoo?
type of
I don't know what spotted cow is.
The beer.
Oh, I didn't drink beer either. I didn't drink in college. Can you believe that?
I thought you were going.
All I did was get stoned. Oh, I don't know if I can say. We're not on the air, so it doesn't matter. But that's what I did.
We'll cut it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, are we on? Wait, is this the show?
Yeah, this is the show. This is how we do it.
Okay, my contract says that I'm starting at 10.
Well,
anything prior to 10 is not eligible. No, but yes, I went to Wisconsin, and the only thing I would do were Jell-O shots.
Wow.
Because I didn't like how it felt to drink. And I also didn't sleep in college, so it was easier for me just to get stoned and then not go to classes and just be around to clean up after a party or do things like that.
Well, was it the bloated sensation? You didn't like drinking.
I did not.
You liked the result of drinking, but you didn't like actually ingesting.
No, I didn't know what the result of drinking was. I did not drink in high school or college or law school. I had my first drink when I got into baseball. I didn't even drink on Wall Street.
But Jell-O shots is alcohol.
The Jell-O shots, but it was Jell-O, and I would have 2 of them, and I wouldn't be drunk. I would just do it because it was the peer pressure to drink is so unbelievable. It's very hard to get through when you don't have hey, I'm a Mormon, I can't do it. It's, God, why are you such a wussy? And so I would pretend that I would drink.
So you said you didn't start drinking until you were in sports and baseball. How did that experience go?
So I couldn't sit with executives and smoke.
So you needed something to cut the tension, or or you needed something in your hand?
Oh, no, I like where your head's at. I needed something to not feel the way I felt.
Got you.
And everybody does that. There's so much abuse of alcohol and drugs in sports, as in anything.
So years ago, when Lamar Odom got checked into that rehab after he passed out of the Bunny Ranch or whatever, earlier that day, I recorded the day before, I recorded a podcast. It was me, it was Ethan Strauss, and Pablo Torre. And Pablo had just written this feature about James Harden, right? But before we started talking about his feature, in the news that day was the Steve Sarkisian, remember him from SC, and he had a big alcohol problem. Yeah. He had to step down. And so one of the things that came out was the receipt from a coach's retreat in Palm Springs.
How long was it?
It was a CVS
Ace Ventura's
receipt.
Wallet?
Yep. And so it was, but I remember it was 14 shots of Patron, 20, 6 bottles of this, And then there, at the bottom of the receipt was 2 Michelob Ultras. And I started the podcast by saying, who is this ungrateful son of a bitch? This generous man buys out the bar, and you're like, I'll just have a Michelob Ultra, right? From there, we transitioned to... So from there, we transitioned the conversation to about, seriously speaking, Steve Sarkisian is getting hit for this. But if you go by the definition of alcoholism and alcohol abuse, the entire industry, the athletes, the administrators, the media, everybody in sports, if you don't drink, you probably have a drinking problem. And
you mean a drug problem? If you don't drink, you have a drug problem.
Well, I'm saying no. I mean, unless you don't drink at all.
You're not drinking for a reason.
Unless you don't drink at all, you are definitely just.
The problem is the time is off, so everybody sleeps till noon, and then you wake up, you have lunch. I didn't do this. That was my issue. That I started drinking in baseball, but I was still getting up at 6 or 7 o'clock and working, and then doing the game. So luckily I didn't need a lot of sleep, but it always struck me, and it was a tough thing as running a team. When do you get down on a player for drinking too much? When all that's being modeled is everybody's drinking all the time, right? Including in the clubhouse, by the way, on a side note.
We had a fridge in the locker room, and it was well stocked.
We had alcohol in the clubhouse. We used to say we won't feed our players alcohol when we are flying home from the road to home because the players have to drive
home. Yep.
But guess what? The greatest, this is not a top 5 list because there's only one. Randy Choate. Randy, I know you listened because you told me. Randy Choate had his own drinking suitcase. That was a suitcase that he brought on the team plane because we didn't serve alcohol on certain legs of the flight. And he would open it and it had the containers. The only thing I can liken it to is Nicolas Cage's gun briefcase in Lord of War, where there's different containers everywhere.
File.
That is what Randy had, and it was awfully impressive.
So he would mix his drinks? Like he had the shaker?
He had everything. And he would sit in the back where the players are. Right. And
the little elastic band around his bicep.
He did not have needles. I'm willing.
No. I'm saying
the
like an old-timey bartender.
You know that?
I'm saying-
Wow. That's 2 drug references for like
It's okay,
real-
David. We haven't started yet.
Hold on. When you say wrap something around your arm and we're talking about
Like
alcohol,
an old-timey
the bartender, you know, with the handlebar mustache,
No.
where it's like
And like a towel over his.
yes.
Yeah,
that you know, that reference
What
you
was
know.
what was the whole point of the elastic band around the arm?
Very
Did it
cultural.
serve any sort of practical purpose?
They kept bottle openers under it, like so they'd whip it out, be able to open the
No, they
beer,
had pockets though.
and
That
then
can't
put
be
it in.
No,
that can't
they
be
Put
it.
it in
No pockets.
right here.
Can't be it.
No pockets?
No pockets.
Those shirts did not have pockets. That
They
you
didn't
were
want. They
referring to.
didn't want you like putting out the till in your pocket, right? You got to make sure. So if you're gonna carry anything, it's got to be out in the open.
You know what? Do you ever go to those super pretentious bars where they're wearing aprons?
Oh yeah.
Just
And mixologists. Don't get me started on mixologists. What's a mixologist? Oh, you made me a rum and coke. Well, what is that mixology?
No, mixology is when you get a lemon and you squeeze it, but you don't actually put any of the juice in there. You're just like squeezing the aroma.
There's also this where you do this with the
the
mint.
essence. Yeah. Oh, you got to spank the mint.
Yeah.
My
They look
cousin-
down on you when
My
you
cousin
order.
who went on the Twine tour also taking a mixology class next year.
Fascinating.
When you do it, when you order, do you ever feel guilty ordering like a rum and coke from a very fancy bar where you know they're making cool drinks and they look at you and judge you because that's what you're ordering?
I don't want these things are just too complicated sometimes. There's one that comes out under like a glass kind of covering and there's smoke coming out and I'm like, I just want a drink.
Can I drink it now? That's what the question is. When is that okay? Is that cold? Is that like dry ice? Yeah, I've been through that.
Or like going to I've had the problem where I went to a bar and the bartender, like to make the drink, is doing the Tom Cruise and cocktail, throwing the bottle up in the sky and no, I'm not impressed. The tip is not going to be bigger for the performance.
Hubba. Have you guys gone to like bars where they have fancy drinks and half the ingredients in a drink, you recognize one word. So it'll be like blah, 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 infused
Chartreuse.
vodka. And then everything else is just words that you've never heard of. And you're like,
Chrysanthemum.
I don't know
And you
if I'm
order
gonna
it
like
to
this
feel
drink.
cool, right? It's a $19 drink and you see vodka in it and you say, excuse me, is this one good? And they suggest it and you take it, but you have no idea what's in it.
It's my pet peeve. I want to know what something's going to taste like before I order it.
The worst. I'm even worse than it doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
Is you order the drink and you're like, oh, this looks like I'd like it. And then it comes out in a very shishy kind of
Glass?
Over the top,
like
overstated.
Yeah, it's like
Presentation.
the presentation. It's like it's the
Because you feel like it's a female drink? Is that your issue?
yeah. It just feels like it's like there's no way I can feel like I drink
'Cause it's
And
not manly enough.
It's got like an umbrella.
It's just hard to transport. I like to move when I'm drinking.
It's not practical.
I
is
can't
what you're
really
saying.
move with this thing. I also don't like martini glasses for the same reason. You
Get
have
outta
to stay in one place with a martini.
I get made fun of because I order Cosmopolitans because I like them. And it's
All
no.
right, Carrie Bradshaw.
So not even I know the reference, but that's not why. It's because when I used to be able to taste them, it's the type of alcohol that I could drink, and it comes in a martini glass,
Yeah.
and I'd get made fun of mercilessly in the baseball world when I would sit with
I mean,
a bunch of men and order a Cosmo.
That's just. We need to get over the fact we can't ascribe gender to drinks. This
You
is
can.
just
Yeah, you
ridiculous.
can.
It
You
happens.
actually
Yeah.
can.
This is the last ship to
I
fall,
know
I'm
that
afraid.
you can. You can technically do a lot of things, but come on, really?
You shouldn't. I hear you, but it's the last ship to fall.
It's not the last ship to fall.
Well,
it's not even the last
Equal,
10.
equal
No.
pay is the last.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's going too far.
Let's not get crazy.
Let's not get nuts. Misogyny.
Can we talk about Cocktail for one quick second? How
Yep.
come that movie gets no love? Do you give that movie love?
We did it on Cinephobe, and I think I did not like it because it was too long. I have like it's not a strict rule, but it's a pretty consistent rule. If it's over 2 hours, sometimes it kills me. The other thing about Cocktail is that most of the movie takes place in Jamaica.
So,
And I wanted it to be in New York.
oh,
Like Jamaica was actually pretty boring when he goes to Jamaica, and they were just there. It felt like they were just in Jamaica just for the soundtrack for the Beach Boys.
Kokomo?
Yeah, that's the only
way
reason.
down in Kokomo.
I hate that song with a passion.
It's unreal,
That
right?
song
Terrible.
is
Terrible
a
song.
banger.
Oh, get out of here.
It's a
It is
banger.
both a banger
That's a
and
terrible
hated
song.
by
Kokomo.
everybody.
Yeah, because if you're on a boat and you're actually headed to Kokomo, that is a practical application, and it is perfectly supplemental for the moment.
If I was on a boat, if I was on a dinghy, I would hate that song.
No.
It's a terrible song.
Have you ever been down to Key Largo?
No.
Baby, why don't we go?
Do you like the song Key Largo by Bertie Higgins?
I love that song.
So do I.
Love that song. It's also one of the great album covers ever. Have you seen it?
I have seen it, but I can't. Look, is it cartoony?
It's very like, ooh, what are graphics type of.
I like it.
Yeah, I gotta find that.
So
album
Cocktail,
cover.
yes, I did not like Cocktail.
Wait, you have a list of movies you like and don't like?
You didn't like
Well,
Cocktail?
I do a podcast called.
No, I know you
Cinephobe.
do a podcast. I review a movie every day.
We
I mean,
saw
if we're gonna
Cocktail.
go man to man
I was on that
podcast.
Cinephobe
You were on that episode, yeah.
Yeah, Cocktail is a tale of two different movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brian Brown, Tom Cruise, Elizabeth Shue. Are we talking about the same movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got the
Coughlin's
same.
Law.
Hold on.
Coughlin's
I have a
Law.
list of every movie I've seen and every one I've reviewed on Nothing Personal, but I don't write whether I've liked it next to it.
because I mean that's
You
the
don't
whole,
recall if you liked Cocktail?
No.
He's saying
I'm saying I do. I don't need to look at a list to tell you whether I liked a movie.
Okay.
So we do this and we keep track because
No, I know you do, but is that just? I know your show and it's
Right.
phenomenal, but
Thank
do you
you.
do that for the show or that's you like in real life?
Oh no, that's what I said is basically based on my viewing at that time, right? So there are movies that I remember watching and I loved, and then we do it for the podcast, and I'm like, not that good of a movie. I don't know what I was thinking. And then sometimes movies that are like, I don't know about this one. So I'll give you a great example. Soul Plane was a movie that when it came out, I was like, this
Great
is
movie.
dumb. I thought it was dumb when it came out. I watched it for the podcast 10 years after watching it for the first time, and I'm like, it's actually pretty funny. Like, I don't know why I gave it such a hard time. And then the opposite happens sometimes, like Roadhouse. I just like,
But every movie you see, you're going to react to differently depending on when you see it.
depends, yeah. I guess so,
Right. So
yeah.
when you see St. Elmo's Fire and you're of that age,
Right.
you're going to react to it in a wistful way. When you see it when you're 54, you're going to look at it and say, whoa, I can't relate to that anymore.
But then there's some movies that I know this because I can tell, for instance, Jess, who wasn't. Jess, have you seen Back to the Future?
Never.
Okay, like I
can't even.
can show her Back to the Future. She's like, this is kind of dumb. The graphics are kind of lame. And for me, I'm like, this. I remember 5 years old going to watch that movie in the theater. I remember that, and I've loved that movie ever since. There's nothing anyone can ever tell me. It is the perfect movie. That doesn't change, even though her criticisms might be accurate as far as some of the parts of it.
So will you change your top 100 if you see a movie a second time or a fifth time or 10th time and you react to it differently because you're older? Will you take it out of your top 100 list?
Depends, because some movies you appreciate better when you're older, right? You watched it and you're a kid, like, I don't get any of this. And then you watch it again, like, oh. I think I want to say, what movie was that? It might have been The Godfather. I remember when I watched it, I was like, this is a very slow movie. And then watching it after being older and thinking like, oh, this is actually beyond what everyone says. It's like it's objectively very beautifully made.
So my daughter has a rule, and I'm wondering, do you have this same rule? She will not watch a movie prior to the year she was born.
What?
Yes.
I don't have that rule, but
It's
I
the
do
worst
find
rule
that
of all time,
I
but
do
that's the
find that movies before, because I was born in like the mid 90s, so movies before I was born tend to not hold up as well as movies since, because there was a big shift in the way Hollywood did practical effects and CGI and all of that. And so I grew up watching movies like Lord of the Rings was one of the first like epic films I ever saw. And that movie obviously has aged pretty well, even despite it being made over 20 years ago now. And so that kind of set the standard for me. And now anything that's going to use any effect or CGI or anything, like it's just hard to get into it now because it just doesn't hold up as well visually.
I've never really thought about it that way. When I think back to some of my favorite movies from well before when I was born, they didn't really rely on special effects. It's the Psychos, it's the Sunset Boulevards, it's the Rear Windows. It's very practically done.
Going back to Back to the Future, yeah, the graphics and everything sucks because you can see Doc Brown in the one where he comes back from the future to Marty. You see he has a bald cap on, and like you can see the difference in tone of makeup, and it sucks. But I love that movie, and that's one of the greatest movies and one of the greatest trilogies of all time outside number 3.
I guess my thing is when I watch.
Whoa,
you're not going to slander Back to the Future 3.
I didn't like the Western one. I didn't like the Western one. Come on,
Can something be one of the greatest trilogies of all time except for number 3?
Yeah, of course.
Well, Godfather.
Then Ninja Turtles is on that list.
Whoa, 3 was fine.
What kind of moccasins do those say Nikkei on them? What is that? Slur for Native American?
Oh, you're quoting Back to the Future 3.
Great movie.
Didn't they shoot 2 and 3 back to back?
Yes.
They shot it at once.
Why did they do that? Is it because Marty was
That's
already
how they
looking
could.
older?
That's how they could get Michael J. Fox.
He was
Yeah,
busy.
He was so in demand.
They had to just get him.
Yep.
That was
'Cause it's-
back in his day.
Because it wasn't even like
They almost
like 2 and 3 are so different from an aesthetics point of view that it doesn't.
Well, it's just different time periods.
yeah,
it's
which
a
is
time travel movie, Mike.
Right.
That
So
happened.
one's in the Old West, one is in the future.
I get it, but it's just
You
kind of
know-
weird to stack those, a western and a futuristic film
you
back
know-
to back.
He almost wasn't in the first one, right? You know
Eric
that story?
Stoltz. Yeah, I've seen the footage of Eric Stoltz
And
actually
he was
in
terrible.
Back to the Future.
So they cast Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox then couldn't do it because family ties. So then they said, okay, we're going to go in a different direction. They went with Eric Stoltz. They started shooting the movie. He was so bad, they went back to Michael J. Fox and said, what if we just tape at night? And so they struck a deal with Family Ties that, you know, he would work during the day on the TV show, and then at night would go shoot the stuff for Back to
When
the
you're
Future.
hot, you gotta do more than one thing at once, right? And that is what actors
So
do
true.
now, right? I'm talking about shows. Okay, can we get back to the Future 3? Are there people saying that they don't like that movie?
Tony, I believe,
yeah,
is
3 is not
assertive.
good.
Yeah, three's not good. No,
a big disappointment.
It's
3 was
whatever.
excellent.
3 would happen to have been
Excellent.
excellent.
This is a huge gulf.
3 was excellent. It wasn't as
Excellent.
good.
Do you rank it 1, 2, 3? I rank it 1, 2, 3 for me.
I go 1, and then 2 and 3 is neck and neck for me. But I like
So 1, 2, 3.
westerns.
But you got to choose one.
I like
You
westerns.
can't just say
You
they're
like
neck and neck.
westerns?
I like westerns.
I didn't know that about you.
I do.
Like
I do.
Unforgiven?
No, I like spaghetti westerns.
Oh, like John
so
Wayne
fake
type
westerns.
stuff.
Good,
Django
bad, the
Unchained,
ugly.
yeah.
Did you bring those on tape?
Yeah,
Like,
those
did you have those?
A Fistful of Dollars.
Hell yeah.
Ecstasy, not Ecstasy of Gold. What's it called? Good, the Bad, and
That
Ugly.
was a song.
That was
Yeah.
a different videotape.
Ecstasy of Gold.
Don't back him up. It was a song. We like cinema.
Yo.
So I like those movies. I love, like, my favorite video game is Red Dead Redemption. I love Westworld season 1 because of it. Like, all of this stuff for me is like, that's my sweet spot. That's my wheelhouse. So I love Back to the Future 3. I also like origin stories. Like, oh, that's how the clock got to be how it was. You know, I don't know. It was all cool. No, what?
That's why you like Predator 2?
I do.
Because he hands him a gun.
The gun, yeah. There you go. The gun in Predator 2 lets me know that this is how it all started.
That's how
I find it fascinating who's seen what, who's heard of what, and how you think about how old people are and how things age. So I look at that when it comes to I look at that when it comes to athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And the discussion of who's the greatest basketball player, the greatest baseball player. It really is based on age and based on experience. So people who grow up, I think back, I was born in 68.
Okay.
If my parents said, watch a movie from 1950, right? When I was growing up, I would say there's no way. I have no interest in that. So when I tell my kids to watch a movie from the 1980s, to them, that's me watching a movie from the 50s.
Sure, but I grew up, my dad made me watch Some Like It Hot and Buster Keaton movies and Charlie Chaplin movies, and I love that stuff. So that's why I don't have empathy when people say, oh, it was before my day. I'm like, I watched a shit ton of movies.
Do you love
before I
it
was-
because they were good, or do you love it because you have the association of watching it with your dad?
No, they're good. No, I didn't even, I mean, it wasn't like that, but it was like, come here,
What do you mean
son.
it wasn't like that?
It wasn't like, come
It was
here,
definitely
son.
like
was
that.
like that.
You-
Yeah, let's explore this. a
No,
little bit.
like, it's not like, because it was like,
He said he made you do it.
Yeah.
well, I mean, the first time, but then like you watch it 300 more times, and then after that, you're like, yeah, I kind of like this thing. But Godfather, I didn't watch that with my dad. That came out before I was born.
But that's also considered like one of the best movies.
But there are people
of
who won't even give it a try.
our generation.
What's the
Well, your
Easy
generation.
Rider, Dog Day Afternoon?
I saw Easy Rider. It does not hold up.
Midnight Cowboy.
Oh, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
It totally holds up.
Great
Holds up.
movie.
It holds
Yeah,
up.
Great
that one
movie.
does, but Easy Rider absolutely does not.
Well,
Easy Rider just tapped into hippie culture, and it just represented so much to those outlaws,
Taxi
the-
Driver.
the younger audience.
Deliverance. I mean, I could go all day.
I like Deliverance. It does hold up.
Bringing Up Baby.
And I get what you're
Three
saying.
men and a
I mean,
baby.
Just because you watched it with your dad doesn't mean that you have any sort of like special connection to
Right.
it. Like me with the Chicago Bears. However, sometimes you think that something's better than it really is because someone's telling you it's good. And if that person's older than you, you'll kind of like give it a little bit more leeway, right? Like if you're watching a movie with like your older sibling and they're like, this movie's amazing, and you're like, I don't get it, but like I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because my sister who I look up to says it's really good.
But they'll say it to their sister, right? They'll say, oh, I liked it. But when they go tell their friends, they'll say, yeah, I was forced to watch this movie and it sucked.
maybe. But if you're really young, maybe you'll just be like, oh yeah, I like this, but you don't actually really think it's
this
good.
might come as a surprise. I was a hater as a child, so like I walked into things not wanting to like stuff. Yeah,
as a child only.
Did you do that when you met people? Like, are you predisposed not to like people when you meet them?
No, just about like content, movies, music. Like because okay, so I'll give you a great example. I grew up when I was in New York. We lived in Queens, and the Mets were on fire. I was the kid like, fuck out of here, Mets. I'm going to be a Yankee fan because everyone's on that Mets bandwagon.
So you're a contrarian.
I was a hater. Yes, I just hated on
it's
things.
It's very hard to be that in life.
Oh man,
right? It takes effort.
It's fun.
Why is that fun?
Because it's hilarious.
Do you play the don'ts and craps? Do you know what that is?
No.
So did anyone?
Oh, do not do that. Do not.
I don't like any casino game where people get upset about how you play. I don't play. That's why I love roulette. I'll play whenever.
No one gets upset with craps because you just roll it. They do, but it's not your fault. Blackjack can actually have an impact on the table. Craps, you're rolling a dice.
Well, I know, but they still get upset because they feel like
someone does that. If someone does that, I'm just like, whatever, this person. It doesn't really affect what's happening. No, but it's just like, why? This is such a jovial, communal game. Why are you going against it?
So the don'ts are contrarians. Basically, in craps, you are trying to get a number twice. That's the rule. If you get a 6, you want it a second time and then you win. A don't is when you are betting that you're going to get a 7 before you get the number twice. Right. And so there are people who are bet that you're going to get a 7. And so what happens is you roll the dice and then a 7 comes up and everyone's despondent. They take all the chips away from everyone. And this one guy, he's like, hell yeah. And he gets extra chips. It's just math, by the way. There's no difference. Here's a little known fact, Mike. There's no difference in the don'ts and the do's. It feels good because you have herd mentality, but the math is exactly the same.
It is exactly the same, but it's just when everyone else is dejected, the last thing you want to see is somebody being very happy. If you're a don't person, you better not celebrate. It's honestly like neutral colors.
And you're also not allowed to roll the dice from the don'ts.
Yeah.
They have little rules, but I used to love, did you like winning road games better than home games? I did. I loved a quiet stadium. Loved shutting up.
You loved home games too,
yeah.
Guys, I have to tell you, while we're recording this, we use Zoom to keep, an additional camera angle. And Chris has his Zoom open in a different room because he's recording a spot that you listen to on our podcast. And I'm watching the Zoom right now, I see a kid that's frustrated.
Okay, this is what we're going to do. Because of where this segment started, we're going to go back and just get the audio of him screwing up and secretly recording him making mistakes and falling to the depths of his insecurities about reading. Because we've been waiting for him, because I've got a question for him. I want to ask him. I've wanted to ask him 4 or 5 food-related questions the last 2 months, and the show's been moving so fast that I haven't been able to get to it. Like, there's a vodka now that is French fry flavored.
Oh, the Arby fry vodka. What? I mean, that actually makes sense. A lot of good vodka is made from potato, Dan.
I love salty vodka.
But he's our food guy. He's I don't like talking about food with anybody around here as much as him. He doesn't want to miss these conversations, and I wanted to talk about the chicken tenders shortage because of the supply chain that's happening. There is the world has a chicken tender shortage because the price is going up on them and it's difficult to package. And so now this thing that placates your kids because it's chicken tenders and fries, it's drying up. And this strikes me as the worst thing that has happened throughout the pandemic.
A tendy shortage?
This is the worst thing.
Yeah, this is the worst thing. I believe that
the chicken wing shortage.
The pandemic has now reached a point that I find unacceptable. Like, it's not okay by me anymore. We have to change the way that we're living. We have to do different things.
What's your favorite tendy you've ever had?
Well, for me, it's not just the tender though, because I don't think there's such a thing as a bad chicken tender. I believe all of those.
You can't. No. You've never had a bad chicken tender.
I get what he's saying.
Tenders.
Yeah. Because
sad tenders.
Yeah, they're
undercooked.
Tenders, no doubt. But even the sad
high
tenders,
school. Woof.
Oh, bad. But you know what? The Dolphin Stadium, when the Marlins were playing there, and you'd get the chicken tendy French fry combo that was just like not very good.
Made them at 3 p.m. They've been under a heat lamp for 4 hours, but they're not warm.
Timeouts.
But wait, according to stadium pricing, affordable by comparison. Oh, I could get a bunch of fried food to absorb the beer. I could get $9 worth of fried food.
I was going to say, it depends on where you are in your day. Those chicken tenders could be the best thing you've ever had. It just depends. Have you eaten yet? Are you a little bit hammered? Like, sometimes those things are good.
I'm going to say it. I've had more bad tenders than good tenders in my life.
Can you ever be a little bit hammered?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit hammered.
Just a little hammered?
No, you can never be a little bit hammered. You can have a little buzz. You can even be a little drunk.
It's true.
But you cannot be a little bit hammered.
No.
It's a little
The
blacked out.
escalating
I believe
chart of
Stugotz has
inebriation.
gone through an entire lifetime of being a little bit hammered.
Just a little bit. Chris is on his 5th take.
Whittingham, we're going to get in here
It's
and we're
a
going to
30-second spot.
We're going to splice these things together so you could hear just the joy in us listening to him screw things up and fall into his insecurities.
If you're going to have a French fried flavored vodka, you would want it to be McDonald's fries, though, right? That would be the I mean, Arby's fries. I've never thought about Arby's fries.
Arby's fries are so good.
Really?
They are really underrated fries.
And it has
Good flavor.
It has a tinge of spice. So if I want to have a French fry flavored vodka, I'd probably gear towards something that has a little dash of spice to it. Because look, we all know the McDonald's fry is perfect. It's the industry standard. It's the Tom Brady of fries.
Yes.
In the fast food sector. But for vodka, I've already given myself up to this unique tasting experience of a French fry flavored vodka. Let's go all the way.
Whittingham, help me phrase this question because I'd like to ask us and the audience, among things that I believe can't be made poorly, I think, and you tell me if there's a fourth in here, but when I think chicken tenders, I also think pizza, like even bad pizza is still good. And I think fries. I think you can make fries poorly. Of course you can. They can be too soft, whatever. You can make them poorly.
Yeah.
But even bad fries, pizza, like if I made you pick from among those three and say, which is the one that's got the best success rate? Which is the best of the first ballot Hall of Famers?
Wow.
What are you choosing there among those three, Stugotz, when I ask you? You've never really had a bad one of these. And I'm shocked to hear Whittingham say he's had more bad chicken tenders than good ones. That's shocking.
I think I'd say pizza. Like, there's bad pizza out there. You could screw up a pizza pretty badly. I've never had terrible chicken tenders. I've never had terrible French fries. I've had terrible pizza before.
Dan, pizza and sex, even when they're bad, they're good.
Where'd this guy come from?
Whoa.
What just happened there?
Hell yeah.
I wasn't asking for any sexual. I was just asking about pizza.
That's showbiz, Dano.
Who's he become? What has happened
I
to
don't
him?
know.
You know what? He's
And
always been
Daytona.
this guy. He's just always been that guy. He hasn't become anybody new. We just gave him a microphone.
And Lewis.
Lewis is absolutely feeding the most Miami parts of Tony.
Bringing the most out of Tony, I would say.
Well, explain to people what's happening in this corner of the room.
This show is more Miami than it's ever been.
Well,
How is Chris Cudi still recording?
It's a 30-second
30.
read. Yeah.
My favorite is his body language. He is like leaning and like trying to create. And by the way, I'll admit to do that as well.
He's got a
But, like, part
finger
of it is
gun
a
working
struggle.
right now.
Yeah, I need to explain to the audience, and Lewis will take this as we introduce you to more and more people and more things around here. I want the audience to see what's happening right now, where we started a segment. And when we started that segment, we were saying to ourselves, how long will it take Chris Cudi to read this 30-second ad? About 5 or 6 minutes into it, I looked at the faces of Mike, Ryan, and Jessica, who were looking into the Zoom where I would imagine, because I'm behind, so I can't see what's on their screen. But I would imagine, like Chris Farley, that Chris Cudi was berating himself because he cannot read correctly. And the way that I'm reading that is by looking into the eyes of Jessica and Mike and the delight that they are having in his suffering as they roar with laughter at how mad he gets at how poorly he reads.
I've experienced this before. I once sat in the room with Chris while he was doing spots, and I think it only exacerbated the problem because there was someone there to observe it in person.
Yes.
And I said, "Do you want me to leave?" I was like, "Yes, please. I wanted you to leave for 5 minutes."
Well, you'll make somebody
Please.
nervous. I mean, you will. You can make
Why?
someone because he knows you can read that thing in 30 seconds.
You're very
you
good.
read good. That's why.
You read well. Yes.
Reading in front of people is really hard. But Chris Cody's in a room by himself right now. He doesn't actually know we're watching.
But he's
him.
been there 10 minutes. I can't wait till he gets out to sort of spring this on him that we are now going, because he's not doing this thinking we're watching this. And furthermore, giving you the director's cut of analysis on play-by-play.
If I know what I'm seeing right there, this guy's getting to the edit before we ever see it. He doesn't want any
All right,
of
call
our
him.
ears.
Call him in here right now. Does he know does he know that we're watching him? Go get him right now and pull him out of there. Tell him we need him right now. Chris, do you know any of what's going on with us, or do I need to update you in real time? Because we've got a question for you that we've been. Oh, he knows nothing. He knows nothing.
Oh, poor
Okay.
kid.
All right. Hold on a second. We're gonna
How
let the
long ago did we
audience.
start
All
here?
right,
Because
all
he was
right.
reading a 30
All right.
You
second.
just shouted shitty ass read.
All right. So, Chris Cody, I've been wanting to talk to you for about 20 minutes, and can you just tell the audience what's been happening here, because I've been wanting to talk to you.
I've been working for about 20 minutes on a read that's a 30-second read in the other studio. I mean, listen, this is obviously not a strength of mine to read.
Uh-huh.
And especially when you got to sound natural doing it. And plus, on top of that, don't want to blame the sponsor, but the copy was not the most smooth of a read.
Sure.
I'm already deflecting. You guys haven't even heard
Not
the sound yet.
Not only did Chris get assigned to do this, it was specifically requested by the client that Chris do it. The client wanted Chris.
So you were
to read
having
this.
trouble with natural? Is that the problem? You were having trouble with a natural read? Because this is a frustration I've had with sales for a while, and hopefully we can clean some of this up now that we own some of this stuff that we're doing. But I have wanted for the client to always understand, hey, we're not very good at some of this stuff. Like, it's not about
reading.
It's not about bullet points. Like, if you want to support what it is that
Speak
we're
for yourself.
doing around here.
It is annoying listening to Witty do that stuff.
That's why Witty can't be in the room. He cannot be in the room.
One
Yes,
take,
yeah.
he does it every time perfectly. And I just want to, because it takes me, as you saw on the Zoom, 15 minutes to do a poor 30-second ad.
But I give you credit for caring, Chris, because I was telling Dan, I'll burp in the middle. I'll just let it fly and send it to Chris and he'll clean it up. But at least you care.
Yes,
I was taking it from the top because I was like, no, that didn't sound clean. There's so many, I have an opening line. I say it 48 times.
It's been a long time since Stugotz took pride in what it is that he says. So it's nice. He doesn't.
I don't know if there's ever been a time.
He doesn't recognize it when you're sitting there trying to sculpt it, so it sounds natural on behalf of the client. I'm going to sell something that feels like it's from my heart. But what do you know about what we've been watching? Because I've never seen Jessica as happy as she was pointing at the Zoom and laughing at whatever it is that was happening in the Zoom.
Well, now I'm understanding because I was texting Tony, hey, can I get out of this Zoom? I'm in a different room now. I don't need to be. And he's like, no, stay. It's good. I think you should just stay. And I was like, that's odd, but okay, I'll stay in the Zoom. And then I happened to look down at the Zoom every once in a while, wow, they're having a really great segment right now. There's a lot of laughing going on. Man, are they having fun? They are having fun.
Real smooth you are.
You're like, I'm missing out. I've got FOMO.
But I was creating it, apparently.
Laughing
You're welcome.
at you. Okay, so how do we do this, though? If we were to play these 10 minutes for the people, would it be
It would be
funny?
painful. It would be really painful, I think, for them, actually. I mean, I don't know. We could play it. I sent it to Witty with the title Bleep Off.
So, Mike, so how do we do this, Mike? I think we can have 10 minutes of good content here or it could just be terrible. I don't know. Or
it's gonna be, I might have been saying curse words. I might have been mother effing the client. I don't know what I was saying in these moments. I was like, God damn it, this is not good. I don't know. I don't know who I was mad at.
Dan, I promise you, it's going to be bad for Chris, but great for our audience.
Okay, but should we give you time to edit it so that we're not wasting the audience's time by?
I'm down to have Witty maybe edited down to the funny parts.
All right, so let's wait here. We will wait.
Why don't you ask Chris Cudi your food questions while we cut this thing down to a place where Chris is comfortable?
Okay, and this is the question I wanted to ask you that you were too busy reading to answer, reading poorly for 10 minutes, a 30-second spot. How do you feel, and did you read about
They're playing it in Q in here, so like they're like laughing at me as you're talking to me. So like this is.
I can't wait anymore.
First of all, I've heard a lot of you do this besides Witty. Everybody besides Witty can't throw a story. I mean, it's not as bad as me. I'm not saying I'm better, but like I've seen.
You're right. I'm terrible. I've
heard some of you try to do reads.
All right, don't edit it then, Mike.
And folks, during December, Sheets and Giggles is offering a killer deal. If you want to give something.
Tough one.
And folks, during December, these Sheets and Giggles is off. And folks, during December, Sheets and Giggles is offering a killer deal. If you want to give some sheety gifts to your friends and family. A buy one, get one half off deal with the code HOHOHO. So unnatural. HOHO. Or if you just want to try the sheets for yourself, head to sheetsgiggles.com/Dan and use the code Dan. This Christmas, you can get 20% off your first order of Sheets and Giggles at
There's an F-bomb coming.
Oh.
He's talking to
Sheets and Giggles. Guys, Sheets and Giggles is a game changer. I never used to care what I slept on in my bed, but once I got Sheets and Giggles in my life, I'm never going to natural. Because I'm telling you, it is just... This is me looking at the Zoom. Wow, they're having a great time. Sheets and Giggles. Guys, I am not someone who does this type of thing a lot. I'm not a salesy guy. But when I tell you that my life and my wife are so much better now that I am using Sheets and Giggles every night on my bed. Doesn't even sound like I'm reading.
I love the
gifts.
I love
gifts.
The best part.
That you're in a room by yourself.
We're going to make you happy with these deals. Sheets and Giggles is offering a killer deal. If you want to give some and during December, Sheets and Giggles is offering a killer deal. If you want to get your friends and family some sheety gifts.
He blamed the copy.
A buy one, get one half off deal with the code. If you just want to try the sheets yourself, you head to sheetsgiggles.com/Dan, use the code Dan. And if you're looking to buy someone for someone else, buy one, get one half off. Guys, during December, Sheets and Giggles is offering a killer deal. If you want to give some sheety gifts to your friends and family this year, a buy one, get one half off deal with the code HOHOHO, HOHOHO, or if you just want to try the sheets yourself, head to sheetsgiggles.com/Dan and use the code Dan. Guys, let me tell you about Sheets and Giggles. Now, not only is this a good product, but it's a catchy name. I like my products to have clever, fun names. Sheets and Giggles.
That's me riffing. The opening was not.
They have insanely soft eucalyptus sheets. Guys, I am here to tell you about Sheets and Giggles. Now, I love a good sleep. We all do.
What?
I run hot. I sometimes sweat. We were recently sent some Sheets and Giggles, and I'm telling you, the insanely soft eucalyptus sheets make the perfect gift for your wife, your husband this year. Guys, let me tell you about Sheets and Giggles.
See, I just kept doing it because I was like, nope, not this.
Did you get 30 seconds that are usable, or did you? Were you
guys, let me tell you about Sheets and Giggles. Now, Sheets and Giggles.
Whittingham, what about?
I mean, I'm sold. I don't know about you.
What about you? Need to be doing all the ads for Sheets and
folks,
Giggles.
Let me tell you
like that
about Sheets and Giggles.
You need to make.
I was like, guys is not the right thing in 2021. Let me go with folks.
Folks, let me tell you about Sheets and Giggles.
Way to go.
Sheets and Giggles is
equality in 2021.
You're outsmarting the copy with folks. Let me be folksy.
Sheets and Giggles.
It's a comfort zone
this
for you.
This is a game changer in my household.
So natural. You sound like you're falling from a cliff.
Give that copy to Whittingham. I want to hear him read it.
Witty tell life that you don't realize how important they are. The sheets that you have on your bed. It's one of those things you don't notice you have something like
trying to be natural and it doesn't sound that way at all.
So long. Why is it so long?
Sheets and Giggles. Guys, I have learned the lesson. I have come around. I used to be a guy, you give me one sheet, you give me another, I don't really care. But once I got my hands on some Sheets and Giggles, it has been a game changer. My wife loves it.
Please stop. Can we stop?
My wife loves it. Sheets and Giggles insanely soft eucalyptus sheets are a perfect gift for your wife or husband this year. And it's a heady play. It's like
What was that? Speed bump.
That was actually, I think we're getting somewhere. That was a decent one.
Oh, everyone knows what that music means.
Yeah.
Moana?
No, it's Winning Wednesday. It's you should know this music by now. It's the third time we've played it after losing the original one. So,
This is better than the original one.
the Winning Wednesday original theme got purged because we had something weird happen with the J drive, and anything that was saved over the summer was lost. But that won't affect the Sueys, don't you worry. We'll just forget the usual amount that we do every year with the Sueys. But it's a Winning Wednesday, and we haven't been that bad lately. No, we've kind of found our groove, fading Tony a little bit. Remember, if we win once every 3 weeks, you're in the black.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, these are plush juice. These are single game parlays.
That's juice, J-U-I-C.
And parlays and boosts and all sorts of ways.
You said juice?
Juice. So what are we doing today? Are we going to do Phony Tony, or are we actually going to be experts?
So we're going to do half and half. So I have asked our friends over at the Underdogs podcast if they may provide us with one pick for our Winning Wednesday. Underdogs and the LeBatard and Friends podcast network. Be sure to check that out. Tom Haberstroh. And the pick we got from Jordan Brenner is over half a first inning run in the A's Marlins game. Plus 125. The stat that we have been giving here is that Cole Irvin, who is on the bump today for the A's, has given up a first inning run in 11 of 22 starts, including 4 straight. Wow. So over half a first inning run. Plus 125, first leg of our bet.
See, they give you stats. You know what I give you? Feel. I give you gut. I give you winners is what I do.
There you go.
Okay, so what I'm feeling right now, I've been looking through the slate. I'm really high on the Diamondbacks right now.
D-backs.
Yeah. D-backs look good, play good.
Why are you... Wait, they look good, play good?
Yep.
What? Are you just going uniform there?
A little bit of both.
Are you doing form?
No.
Because it can't
again,
be
Mike,
recent
it's not
form.
about form.
Yeah, don't ask.
Do you not get what I'm doing?
Right,
It's about gut. It's
are
not
red-
about form.
They are red hot.
Thank you.
They just won their most recent game.
Exactly. You're only good as your last game, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
Exactly. So I'm gonna take the Diamondbacks money line.
You're going Zach Gallen tonight.
Milkman,
That's right.
yeah.
So for the purposes of Winning Wednesday, we are taking the live doggy Royals that are going up against Tony's pick. That's right. We are fading Tony. It's a phony. Live dogs.
Yeah,
with
that's
the
how it
Royals.
goes, Billy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He feels so good about the Diamondbacks, so we're going to go the other way because obviously he's wrong because we're all very bad at this. And that's a Winning Wednesday. An educated pick, courtesy of the Underdogs.
Boring.
And fading Tony phony. Let's go Royals.
What tickled you so much about the half a run in the first inning?
First of all, I'm so happy to be here with you. I want to thank the Academy. It's so good to be here. This studio is so small. Oh my God.
Imagine when Dan's in here.
I'm way too close to you right
Just
now.
Dan sucking up all that air.
In space.
Tell Amin what you said about the parking garage this morning.
So I came down from New York to be here for a couple days, and I'm happy to do it. And I was told by Witty where to park. So he said, he used an expression that I assume is just a young expression. He's like, pound that in your GPS. I didn't know what that meant, but I assume.
You said pound that in your GPS?
I might have said punch.
Yeah.
I might have said punch that in
Or
your
maybe he
GPS.
said punch that into your GPS. I just assumed, I guess I had to put in the name of the place. So I put in.
He's British. It's pounds there, dollars here. That
Oh,
was the whole thing.
I got it.
Pound
So I
town.
Brexited the garage. I get into the garage and. Oh, are you offended by Brexit?
Low key, 30 has hit Chris Whittingham kind of hard. Kind of hard. If he's saying pound that into your GPS, when I walked into this studio, I'm going to a concert with Witty. I'm going to a concert with Witty in a couple of days. I sit down. He's at his keyboard and he looks up and he's like, rather excited to watch Kid Cudi. And he just put his head down.
He invited me yesterday to go see Kid Cudi. I'm rather excited to go.
I'm like, do you like Kid Cudi?
Yeah, I know a few of his songs, but you know, I'm excited to learn more when we go to the concert.
I'm excited to learn more.
But are you going to listen to his songs before you go? That's the question.
You do homework.
Yeah, you know, Mr. Solo Dolo and all that.
Witty, we were in high school around the same time. We graduated at the same time. You did not know Man on the Moon.
Day and Night, know that song?
Yeah, but you didn't listen to that in high school? It was like the formidable years of our high school listening. It was like Kid Cudi, Wiz Khalifa.
That was your generation's emo music.
Yes, it was.
Man on the Moon? Oh my God.
100%.
Super emo.
I
Super
love
emo.
that album.
Yeah.
Love it so much.
I when I was going through my darkest times with the Suns, that was the album.
Oh my God. He just made an album for me.
Wished you worked for the Moons.
That was less than stellar.
Oh, brother.
So
that had the smell of the Pelican Garage.
Intergalactic, you and me.
Great song.
I love that song. But
great song.
Cudi tapped
It's about
into,
mushrooms.
Yeah. Cudi just tapped into something.
So
I was just like, I was right there for him.
I want to
Are you
hear
kidding me? A half Latino Browns fan who lost a parent? Yeah, just like right in my veins. You have trouble sleeping? So do I. Let's go.
Why are you going to a concert together? Is this like a get to know you date? Is this a because we're friends outside of the box date?
We've gone to plenty of concerts together, haven't we?
We've gone to England together.
Yeah,
Like a
we
concert
saw, we
seems
saw
very light.
Robbie Williams in England together.
Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
Wow. What's the name of the group? Westlife?
Oh my God, no.
Was that
it
the
was,
original? What was the original group called?
No, it's they
Take
had
That?
that song. Whatever I said,
Yeah.
whatever I didn't mean it.
I remember I was in
just
Europe.
want you back for good.
I was in Europe when he went solo,
Take
and that was
That.
a big. It was Take That, right?
Take That.
Yeah, it was a big deal when he went solo.
Yeah,
Like it was like Beyonce leaving Destiny's Child for them.
but he wasn't supposed to be the star. He was the bad boy of the
Yes,
group.
he was the
didn't-
bad boy.
He
He
didn't
had an
have the
earring.
singing chops.
That's how you know.
But then he had hits. I love Robbie Williams, but by the time we got around to Robbie Williams, it was just us and a bunch of moms. It was just a big mom crowd. He was touring a Christmas album that I actually fancy. I love that Christmas album. He has a song with Tyson Fury on that album. It's not bad.
I went to I was in Vegas and there was a New Kids on the Block concert, and let me tell you, the casino was swarming with women about my age and a little older who were just swooning over the prospect of catching a glimpse of Donnie. You know?
Yeah.
Were you trying to get scraps? Like, or you just were gambling?
Perhaps
or?
I'm gambling again. I want to hear more about the garage. So
Yeah.
you
The garage.
you pound it into the GPS, and then what happens?
So I'm getting there. I had not commuted from Lauderdale to Miami since 2017, so I'd forgotten how absolutely brutal that is and how uncomfortable it is. So I get to the garage, and I'm sort of shocked that it's a garage, right? I don't know how it's been inspected by Miami Beach. I don't know how it's passed any inspections. I assume there's no sanitation.
Inspections.
I mean, yeah. By the way, you want it to collapse like Surfside? I had to park like on the 5th floor, and I'm not happy about it.
You have to be worried about that. There was one time they thankfully patched it up, but right by the elevator, there was just a hole. There was just a hole where you could see the
ground?
floor below.
The water level?
No.
The water table?
No, it's like on the 3rd floor. Someone hit one of the blockades over there, one of those pillars, and it ripped it out. And there was just a hole, and you could look down the bottom of the hole and see the elevator down below.
I'm just telling you guys that I would not, were I to be in this studio on a daily basis, I would not be parking in that garage every day.
Well, you're a clean freak.
Well, it's not just that. I don't find it safe. I don't find it good. I didn't enjoy the process of getting into the studio from the garage. Like, that would be a point of contention that would be brought up in any sort of negotiation, that I will not be parking in that garage.
Yeah, you're
Speaking my language, Samson.
you're right about it. It's not great. It's not great, but it's better than walking 3 blocks from 7th Street. We used to do that.
Who knew that the common ground that Jess and David Sampson
Would be
find
garages.
was the garage safety?
When you got down to the first floor, did you like high kick the door open? I enjoy that every morning.
You guys gotta stop
touching.
doing that.
I have almost killed my.
No
You guys
touching.
have to stop doing that. I'm telling you, people do that. They think they're Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. They kick the shit out of that door, and they think that no one's walking
No,
behind.
you
it.
have to. If
I've
it's
been
the
hit by
stairwell,
that door twice.
You have to.
Tony almost took my head off.
Why do you have to kick it? Why can't you just do it with your ass?
No, it's stuck. It's stuck, and it's not just a push thing. It's not just like you can bump it with the side. Like you can go and throw your whole body weight at it, and
Sometimes
it won't
doesn't open.
You
Yeah.
have to kick it.
Your podcast door in this studio, I recorded nothing personal. You put me in the podcast
That lock
room.
is finicky.
Just so you know, I was done 7 minutes prior to executing my exit from that room. I could not get the door open. And I didn't want to, on my first day here, to be the one calling, saying help or screaming for help. It was locked or closed in a way that made it impossible to open.
You guys really need to stop kicking that garage door open. It is so fucking dangerous.
There was one time, hold on, there was one time, because I take the stairs, right? I like a nice little jog in the morning. I usually go down 3 or 4 flights of stairs. And then when I get there, I mean, I am like Israel Adesanya. Like, I am kicking that door like almost off the hinges, okay?
It's so bad. No, you don't have
the problem
to. There's
is,
someone walking.
Mike, how do you get out of it? Wait, hold on.
There's a way to measure the kick though, where you kick it hard,
I've been more
but
measured.
not hard enough to where like it just pops it open.
That's why you should use your ass or your shoulder.
No, David, doesn't work. The ass doesn't work. Yeah.
Mike, what do you do? Mike, you're complaining about the kicks. What do you do?
I don't actually walk down that stairwell because I find it so disgusting. I either take the very dangerous elevator or I walk down the ramps.
You walk
Which is
down
also-
the ramps?
which
That's
is
By the way, the
so
cars are going
dangerous.
so fast. I almost got into a crash going up the ramp, by the
so
way.
dangerous.
Because someone was coming down and
You
there's
gotta
not
look out
enough
for the valets.
space.
Well, the
for
garage.
both.
One of my favorite features about this death trap of a garage is that they've removed like some of the mirrors that show you when the cars are oncoming.
I never look at those anyway. The
Yeah,
blind spot
they've
mirrors. Who
they're
looks
just
at those?
missing on a couple floors, and they just haven't gotten around to replacing them over a couple of years. So
Listen, if you guys need representation, I would only say that you have to talk about it is very important, right? For any employer to focus on how their employees get to work.
Right.
It matters.
Well, they do. That we have the closest parking imaginable. And it's a lot better than walking the 3 blocks in the summer heat. As difficult as this garage is, like that walk was brutal in the summer, and we'd always have these passing thunderstorms, and you'd have to bring an extra pair of shoes.
All I would do is give my
3
employees
blocks?
options, right? I would give you the Pelican option, but I'd also give you the 7th Street option, and I'd make it neutral, financially neutral for you and let you decide. And even on a daily basis, you could decide given the weather, given how you're feeling, given what you're schlepping. I like the option scenario.
But to me, the most dangerous thing about the garage is the human error, which is it's so disgusting in parts that people kick things with their feet with such a ferocity that honestly, this one woman was having a really terrible day. She came down, and if the door would have hit me, it would have done some serious damage. She felt really bad afterwards and apologized because she knew she took out whatever.
But Mike, now that you know, why do you walk so close to the door?
There's really not a lot of room because
You just
I
gotta walk like this and you get close. So
You
you're
can do
ready
that
to brace
too.
yourself.
There's not a lot of room between the door and the wall. And then I have to straddle the wall, which is also kind of gross, by the way.
I've never touched a single thing in that garage with my hands, ever. It's only feet.
did she
Buttons on the
crane kick
elevator,
it?
toes, door, feet.
No, you don't lift your hands and do a crane kick when you're trying to do a door like that because you're risking having your hands touch the wall.
You use your
so you
toes to
cannot
push the
take that
button?
chance.
Everywhere, Billy.
You use your toes to push
I use my
buttons?
toes to open doors with
That's
handles
kinda
all the
gross.
time.
That's
Is this a
gross.
Well, not
Roaming
your
thing or just
wait,
always?
your coverless toes.
My literal toes, yeah.
No, she doesn't mean that. Time out.
That's why I
That's why we
can't.
shouldn't be touching.
That's why we're kicking
Wait,
the
let me
door.
see the shoes right now.
Weird-ass toes.
You're talking about your
I'm not
actual
putting
toes?
my feet on video, David.
No, but your actual toes?
When I'm wearing sandals,
That's
you know,
the same-
I'll
oh,
slip
so
a
you
toe
don't.
out. I'll
She
slip a
doesn't.
toe out.
Oh, disgusting.
I'll let a toe out.
This is
I'll press a button with a toe.
2 Americas.
Fuck it.
3 Americas?
Making Daniel Day-Lewis proud.
Just
What?
disgusting. What? Just do
No,
me a
my
favor.
left foot.
My left
Anybody?
foot. Dated reference.
Yeah.
Dated reference. Do you
I
think-
use my right though.
That's a dated reference?
Well, she wasn't born
Yeah,
when
my
it
left
came
foot
out.
is a dated.
Oh, so she hadn't seen it.
Daniel
Check.
Day-Lewis has been retired for what, 8 years?
Phantom Thread was his last movie?
Great flick.
So to make a short
over
story,
yourself.
obviously longer, I made it in, but there was someone to help me touch the doors and show me the way, because otherwise I never would have found the way, which was through the kitchen, up the stairs to the right with a pass, then stop and say hello, and then record nothing.
Do you
personal.
travel with like a hanky?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, podcast audience, he just pulled out an actual
A plaid
handkerchief.
A plaid hanky.
Like an
boxer briefs.
Yeah,
It's not a boxer brief. What are you talking about?
How many of those do you have?
I had underwear that
I
was
have a rotation
exactly that.
about 50.
50 hankies.
They're not blow. They're not show.
Hanky.
They're to touch and for sweat.
Oh no, you gotta have a different one for sweat,
Yeah,
right?
then you're rubbing the dirty stuff on your
you
face.
can't have
two different sides. So it's based on how I fold it. It's based on how I fold it.
Do you do a new one every day? Or
Yes,
how
of
often?
course.
Ooh, what scent is that? I see a little Bath and Body Works situation over there.
Then you've got sanitizer, and then you've got Listerine.
I always use hand sanitizer after I press the button with my foot, by the way, because of germs.
You need foot
obviously.
sanitizer.
Yeah.
What do you
They
mean?
haven't quite invented foot sanitizer. It's like fungal powder is what foot sanitizer is.
Tough acting to acting.
Boom.
Tough acting. I got fungus when I was a kid.
You know what's funny? When I was a kid,
Revelation.
I would yearn for products on television that I didn't
That you didn't need?
Yeah, like
Trojans?
Athlete's foot looks so fun. Like they get the little spray and stuff.
I was so disappointed when I used Tinactin and like cartoon little green fungus wouldn't disappear.
Didn't die.
Yeah.
I had to
assumed
get
that
the
was part of it.
special, disgusting smelling cream when I had athlete's foot as a kid.
Terrible.
I have very bad feet.
Never had athlete's foot.
No?
No. It's weird that I've never used Tinactin.
What about ringworm? Ringworm and athlete's foot are related.
Those are like for dogs, right? That's not.
No, like
amateur.
Fernando Tatis has ringworm. That's why I took steroids
Oh,
to
that's
cure
right,
the
yeah.
ringworm.
Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't ringworm. I totally forgot. If you're gonna lie, what is your view of how long a player should stick with a lie before stopping?
Forever.
Oh, so you die with the lie.
I die with.
I don't mean in your regular life. I mean like as a player giving you an
Yes.
excuse.
Like Pete Rose. You got to be like Pete Rose. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
He has not died with the lie. He's acknowledged gambling.
Did he?
The only thing that he has not acknowledged is gambling against
the
his
Reds,
team.
right? Like-
Against his team.
But-
Well, so he's bet on the Reds.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you subscribe to the theory that anytime that he wouldn't bet on the Reds, therefore it's a bet against the Reds?
How much time, David? How much time did Tatis have between when he found out and can come up with that lie? Because like he has to appeal it at some point, right? So he's known it's gone through the appeal process, and then there's probably like a little window.
He
and
did
in all
not
that
appeal.
time- He didn't?
He did not appeal. So the way it happens is you get a call from the union saying that there's been a positive test. They then run it again. And then if it's positive again, then they will give you an opportunity to appeal. And you can appeal, and then you can drop the appeal anytime before a decision is made, right? When new information comes to bear, the union will call you and say, listen, not only do they have you having tested positive, but we've sent it to 3 labs. And by the way, what you're claiming, you're going to argue that you took it from a medicine in the Dominican that helps ringworm. We know for a fact that what you took and tested positive for only comes in a syringe, right? The amount that you tested for when you put it in your ass. Okay, I'll drop the appeal. So there's that whole time that you get.
But how much time did he have to come up with that lie?
It can be weeks.
Jeez.
It can be weeks. And then when you drop the appeal, then it's announced. And that's the only time the team is told. So everyone who thought the Padres were aware of Tatis testing positive, that is not accurate.
Yeah, because the conspiracy theories are like, well, that makes the Juan Soto acquisition make a little bit more sense.
And I'd be the first to try to MF AJ Preller, right? The GM
What's
of the
your
Padres.
problem?
He's a liar. And he's
So you don't
ineffective
like
and he's
him because
bad
of
for the
that?
game.
He's not a liar.
What did you say? I only had it in my left ear. I think takes one to know one? Is that why they're all laughing?
It's the younger
Some
version of
variant
that.
of that.
What's the younger version of that?
Real recognize real. But he's not a liar, David. He merely displays the behaviors of someone who lies.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, you can't.
So
it's a sweeping character.
we can quibble with bits all we want, but I don't even know what I was saying. Forget
But
it.
you called
Thank you so much, everybody.
Suey, lying was your drug of choice. It was a callback.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me explain the way I lied. I lied in a
can't
way
take
that would
offense
do
to
the
that.
maximum damage to family and maximum damage to the profitability and the ability to make money in work.
Oh, okay. So like little white lies.
No, mine
Little
were
white
neither
lies,
little nor white.
Oh, that's a Harry Styles, by the way.
That's
One
a song,
Direction.
Little White Lies?
One Direction. Yeah.
David, I have
You'll
another
learn that
question about Tatis. So is it possible that MLB holds on to that suspension since he's rehabbing before they announce? Just like let's say he tested in spring negative, right? But they're like, well, we're not going to announce it now because he's not going to play anyways, and then they wait until he's going to come back to put that out.
No. So it's a nightmare, right? For MLB to have had Tatis test positive has been a nightmare for them. He was their face. He was the one who they wanted. They wanted him in the World Baseball Classic. They wanted him back on the Padres because Juan Soto is great, but Tatis is a far bigger personality. And so if there was a chance the Padres could play the Dodgers in the playoffs, the networks really wanted that. MLB really wanted that. So they're totally despondent. And so they would check that sample multiple times, right? It's not that they don't want to catch someone like that. They'd rather do releases where they catch the minor league players or the crappy relievers, right, who test positive and get suspended. They don't want to suspend Tatis. So once they find out, they want to get it done because they want him back as quickly as possible.
That's like is it Tarkanian who had the quote about the NCAA was so mad at Kentucky they gave Cleveland State 2 more years of probation?
That's the concept.
That's always fun, right? The idea that like we've got to make an example of someone. How about him? Not him.
We can't. He's too good.
Reel it back some.
Real recognizes real.
Yep.
I am using that. I may want that on my tombstone.
If you bought the Angels, would you rename them?
Yeah, no question.
California? Or just Anaheim again?
I think I'd go back to California.
I think you can do, how about this? California Angels of Anaheim. California
Angels of the Los Angeles metro area, parentheses, including Anaheim.
Yeah. California, I don't understand. So to me, it seemed a little counterintuitive. They made them the LA Angels to increase their appeal, make them worth more, increase their fan base. What increases your fan base more than just being California Angels? Now you got the whole state.
Well, the other thing is that calling them the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim is the Angels of Anaheim. So like if you're trying to appeal to the Latin fan base of Southern California, you're basically displaying your ignorance of the culture by calling them that. Yeah. And then also the idea that they would ever eat into the Dodgers market is so crazy. Like there's no way. This is a Dodgers town. It always will be. Like they're better off trying to just capture. They would have been better off trying to go south and try to steal the Padres, whatever fans the Padres have. But now the Padres have ruined that by becoming good. So they're kind of screwed.
Inter Miami also does that. It doesn't make sense. They go by IMCF, but their official name is Club de Football of Miami. Like it's totally backwards. I don't understand why they do that. So you would think there would be some Hispanic people on hand to be like, that doesn't make any grammatical sense.
They're also tied to that stadium through 2029, I think.
Isn't that stadium a dump?
Yeah, it's terrible. And it is the worst thing. The worst way to spend your time in this state is to attend a day game in Anaheim in the summer. Like it's such an unpleasant experience. And I wonder whether the new owners aren't going to buy the team with the idea of moving them somewhere.
Well, that's
down the road.
Well, I want to bring in David Sampson, expert in the field, because I was going to ask you and Mike both. The Angels seem ripe for relocation, but I didn't know that tidbit about them being locked into their stadium lease. If Artie Moreno is selling, are people that are looking to relocate, David?
They won't be allowed to. So no, anyone who buys that team in order to get the 23 votes, which is all that matters, the team will stay. And the whole Anaheim name, that was one of the huge fights that Artie Moreno had with baseball. And we would basically MF him during owners' meetings when attendance would be taken. We would purposely call them by their formal Anaheim name, and he would be fuming, and then he just stopped going to owners' meetings because it was so petty. And he did it. The actual reason, I've spoken to him actually about what his story was. Not only did he want the San Diego market and Los Angeles market, that was not his main factor of why he wanted to get rid of Anaheim. He had such a war with Anaheim that he did not want them recognized in any way as part of the team. So he wanted to have total separation and have people know or believe that Anaheim had nothing to do with the Los Angeles Angels.
So why not California Angels? Why Los Angeles?
So that's the same Florida Marlins versus Miami Marlins, right? Isn't it better to call yourself the whole state? And there are studies that are done that show that you have to get better affinity, you want to be associated with a smaller geographic area.
But wasn't the whole thing that the lease agreement included the stipulation that the name Anaheim had to be in the name of the team?
Right. So that was done at a different point. And so what Moreno did is he basically stuck it at the end, but didn't put it on anything official, right? When he was doing releases, when he was doing contracts or doing any sort of media, he would call it the Los Angeles Angels. And then where the lease specified, he'd include of Anaheim. Remember when it was called the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim? Mm-hmm. And then they just got rid of the of Anaheim part.
I didn't realize they got rid of it. Artie Moreno, this is a spectacular failure, right?
Well, you mean buying a team for 180 and selling it for $2.5 billion? Is that the failure part?
I guess that's not how I'm looking at it. I'm just saying, like, he was very serious. He spilled money all over the bar. Like, he was very aggressive and zero results to show for this.
There are people who believe that once the Anaheim Angels sell, that all of a sudden they'll start spending money, and they don't get it. Artie Moreno's been spending money. His payroll is probably in the 180s. They're like, oh, it's going to be like Steve Cohen. It'll be in the 250s, 270s now. It's going to be great. We'll compete with the Dodgers. The problem with them has not been spending money. It's been spending it incorrectly. He's just a disastrous owner. Rob Manfred, I spoke about it Nothing Personal this morning. Rob Manfred's doing the Snoopy dance. They've been trying to get Artie Moreno to sell for a decade, and he's now going to get in a yes vote where Artie has been a no vote on everything, and now the new owner will be a yes vote for Rob. So it's a big power change.
Mike Schur joins us every day. Where are you joining us from today?
Los Angeles, my house of Anaheim.
All right. Let's get that stat of the day going.
I love Miro, by the way.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
You mean his painting?
Start of the day.
Yeah.
Start of the day.
Oh, I thought he meant Kid Miro.
I thought so too.
Who's Kid Miro?
Start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
I'm impressed that you correctly identified the illustrator who made that painting
Artist
behind me. Oh,
Well,
same
Miro's
thing.
an artist, not an illustrator. Let's start with that.
Let's learn how to take a compliment.
No, number two.
Just say thank you, man.
Little-
Just say
no,
thank
I-
you.
David.
Don't you want to know he's not an illustrator? That's like anyway. So Miro was the colors of Marlins Park is based on Miro. So
Is that
Peter,
true?
I think, got rid of all of them, but there was a red quadrant and a blue quadrant and a yellow quadrant and a green quadrant. Those are Miro's palette
Really?
colors. And so there's a huge Miro mosaic at Marlins Park. By the way, has anyone been to Marlins Park? Is it gone at
Yeah.
the entrance?
I don't remember seeing it. I remember the home run sculptures outside now, but
No, when you walk in the main entrance, right sort of between first base and home plate, there's a huge mosaic, which is a tile piece of art by Miro. And I have no way of knowing if it's still there. There was a Roy Lichtenstein in the ballpark who
Really?
has a similar color palette. I don't know if it's gone now or not. There was a Kenny Scharf, the huge painting. Is that still there? Has anyone
I
been?
didn't notice any of it. But if I had seen it, I definitely would have been like, oh, it's a fake.
This is one hell of a stat.
I miss Stugotz.
Joan Miro's greatest dream, famously, was to have his work displayed in front of a taxpayer-funded ballpark that no one goes to.
Yes. Yes, as a matter of fact.
I'm so glad you were able to.
Listen, I appreciate your input on that, but his estate was only too happy to take the payment for that.
All right, fair enough.
So I appreciate what you're saying. And by the way, just at least get the stat right? Taxpayer funded is not accurate. I'm happy to correct it for the umpteen millionth time. But if you'd like, it was a 66-33 deal where 33 to 34% was privately funded, and the other 66% was funded by not a new tax and not an existing tax that got greater.
Mike,
we got a stat here. Stat.
No, I'm trying to look at him. I'm looking at you guys. Believe me, I'm not stuttering. I've said the same thing over and over again, but it's just complete ignorance of people to say, oh, it's taxpayer funded.
He complimented you on his way in.
Just say thank you, David.
Say thank you.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
Not going to do it. Illustrator.
David, it's nothing personal.
I'm not taking it personally at all, Billy.
This is all brought to you by ZipRecruiter, the smartest people hire.
Nice job on the read.
You're joining us tomorrow.
Impressive.
Folks, you guys know LeBron James, the basketball player?
Yes.
LeBron James.
I've seen of it.
LeBron James has played in his career 11,035 minutes in the playoffs. That's 266 games. 11,000 minutes in the playoffs, which is 1,000 more minutes than Steph Curry and Draymond Green combined. And in those games, he averages more points than Steph Curry, more assists than Steph Curry, as many rebounds as Draymond, and his career plus minus in the playoffs is plus 1,310. So LeBron James in the playoffs is basically Steph Curry plus Draymond Green and 1,000 more minutes than the two of them combined. That's incredible to me.
And yet, same number of rings.
Where's Michael Jordan in that list?
Well, the problem is the most sites didn't keep plus minus stats before like 97, 96. So they have incomplete. There's a box plus minus for him. He's number one in box plus minus.
But they'd have minutes, right?
They have minutes. I don't know if I don't think he played more minutes.
Enough with the plus minus. Box plus minus. You put the rings in a box. You count them. He's got 6 of them.
Are you a ring guy?
Good job.
I'm doing a bit.
No, but are you a ring guy in general? So do you agree that you can be the best player in a sport and have no rings?
Yes.
And if you've got the most rings in a sport, it's not relevant. So Tom Brady having 7 rings does not mean he's better than Dan Marino.
It doesn't, but also his
body
he's
of work. Than Dan Marino.
Yeah.
But also he is. But I'm saying in general.
Better than Dan Marino makes him better than Dan Marino.
Right. Just by virtue of being a better player.
Yes.
Yes.
What about, but in an individual sport, Grand Slams, do they matter more than other tournament victories?
Yes.
Because that's an individual sport.
Yes. There's the factors around that are influencing or for the most part, under the control of the athlete. Not like, I had a bad wide receiver or my center.
J.R. Smith didn't know the score.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
I've got a Tom Brady theory, by the way.
What's that?
Seeing some of the photos from training camp after his return.
From Masked Singer?
He went into the shop. Got a little touch-up.
Oh!
He got a little touch-up. I'm not saying he wasn't down. I didn't talk to anybody.
Where? What's your theory specifically? Because now I want to look.
Look, I am not going to say that he didn't have personal stuff going on. I'm sure he might have.
That counts as personal.
But I'm sure he might have. But I'm saying during that time period, dude went into the shop. That hair is looking full. That forehead is looking
Wait, you think
smooth.
he got not Botox or a facelift or a nose job or lip fillers? You think he got hair plugs?
I think he touched up the hair.
I'm going to tell you right now.
I think he got the whole works.
Mike, since the last time we had this conversation about hair transplants in Turkey, I did a lot of research. And it turns out, while it has a great success rate, it is not quick by any means.
No.
You were going to look like shit for a good 6 months before it starts.
It depends on how dramatic. If you've had several hair plugs, and we know that Tom Brady has certainly had hair plugs in his life, you can do the little touch-up, and after a couple of weeks, you can get away with a comb over.
Do you use your back hair to do that?
No. They grab it from the
back of the head.
From the back?
Yeah.
Literally the back of your head, not the back of your back or the front of your back.
Have you ever seen viral videos of people flying back from Turkey? They all have the bandages on their head.
Bleeding.
It is the industry standard, David.
What kind of ego do you need to require? Do you have hair plugs?
No, but I want.
Where?
Why? Do you know where we can get?
Turkey.
No, but where do you not have hair?
It's
like
my
sector
hairline
4?
used to be here. Now it's all the way back here, and the top of my head also there's some thinning there, and this part grows unusually thick for me. So I want them to take that. It's a procedure called FUE. They take the individual hairs and then they implant them and then they grow again.
I assume I'm not your target demographic, but we've now met for the first time. We're sitting a foot away, and I must tell you, you look great. I wouldn't have thought that you need any hair issues at all. I didn't look at you and say, "Well, you've got a hair problem."
But you're looking at him from the front. Show him the back.
Oh, like this part right here. It's thinning. It's
thinning, but not abnormally.
It's not like there's not.
You're going to look worse with hair. I'm telling you, people look worse when they do this.
I'm telling you, the stuff they're doing in Turkey right now, fascinating stuff.
First level. That's what Turkey's good at.
I'm telling everybody, no one can take a compliment in this studio. Apparently.
Mike Ryan, I have a question for you.
Yo.
Is it your theory that remember when Brady had the Riggins hair where it was like long and flowing in the back? Was that him like prepping for a surgery? Is that what that was?
Yes.
Like he was like you grow it out so that you can then either hide what you're doing or else.
Yes.
The follicles are what's most important here.
I thought what Mike was saying was that you grow it out so that when they implant it, it's a nice
long
hair.
It's a nice long strand. No, but if you look at some of the photos, and given what we know about Tom Brady.
Here's the problem with your theory, though. Tom Brady, if he's going to a doctor, you believe. My experience is that athletes and people in front offices, you have the ability to get an appointment when you want it.
Yeah.
Like there's no waiting. Like when teams say, we got an MRI, we'll get the results tomorrow. They're lying to you. The results come within 2 minutes of the MRI. If Tom Brady wanted to get this procedure done, he could have done it during the off season. Do we agree with that?
Right. Yeah, but
and he could have gotten an appointment.
That's my problem with your theory. I feel like why would you schedule it for a time when you would draw attention?
Right, and he didn't change it. So this was a
permanent renter. You don't know anything about the way the world works for those of us with means.
Yeah, he wasn't even planning on being in Tampa. So like that kind of threw his whole off season.
But once he unretired, he could have gotten it done that day.
Why wouldn't he do the Masked Singer allegedly during that off time either? If maybe there was something that he felt like, oh, I'm going to reach a whole new audience. I should probably get a little touch up. And he did it on the way.
I think Tom Brady heard me say that when I was in Africa and I asked all those people, so I was in Africa for a month. I asked thousands of people during the course of the month.
You think he heard that?
I think not one had heard of Tom Brady.
No,
not one.
America's a very provincial place. There are
much more so than we
think
believe.
are like, oh, big deal. Like nobody knows. Nobody cares. And Jess, you made that remark. Remember you told Dan, like no one knows who Ezra Miller is. Will Smith is world renowned.
Exactly. Dan was trying to make a point about like, why aren't we paying as much attention to this? I'm like, Dan, the Will Smith Oscars thing was an international incident. My sister lives in the continent of Africa and people asked her about it the entire next day.
Angola.
Right.
Wow. Have you been to visit?
No, never. I've been to South Africa, but I've never been to Angola.
Would you go to Angola and visit?
Maybe. You would need like a month off work. It's far.
Good thing we have unlimited PTO.
True. All right, I'll see you guys next
I think Dan and Stu gets to take as much time as he wants, so just take as much time as you need.
Thanks. All right. Well, you're the boss today, so.
Just go. I'm telling.
That's how it works.
I'm saying go to Angola. If you have a chance to go, you got to go.
And park on 7th Street.
Thank you, Mike. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Bye, folks.
Thanks, Mike.
Now, will you see musicals from before you're born, like West Side Story and things like that?
My top 5 list is all old musicals.
Like Gypsy?
No, not that old.
Like Miss Saigon and
Wait, that's not old.
Damn Yankees.
Phantom of the Opera?
Well, yes, Phantom.
Okay.
Jesus Christ Superstar. Well, I don't want to give away my top 5.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Is Phantom of the Opera from before you were born?
Oh yeah, it has to be. The movie came out when I was really young.
The movie came out when you were 10, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gerard Butler one.
Yeah. You don't remember they made a movie version like 2004, 2003?
Didn't see it.
Yeah.
It was not
terrible.
bad.
It was terrible.
Wait, have you seen the movie version of Cats?
No.
Cinephobe episode. What was it, Roy? Oh no, it was no.
I
Roy
can't
was on
believe that people
Juju
watch
was
the
on that
dailies
one.
of
No,
that,
Juju
right?
wasn't on that one. Juju was on a later one, and he was complaining that he spent money to watch Cats.
I would love to hear the Juju episode where he breaks down cats.
Did the producers actually write the dailies and say, hey, this is going well? We're doing great.
I think they just thought, look,
it's a train wreck and there's nothing we can do.
But we're going to get our money back by people wanting to see these names, right? You got
they didn't get their money
Jennifer
back.
Hudson. No, they didn't.
They got crushed. I mean, Waterworld level, Ishtar level of crushing.
Ishtar. I remember I liked Ishtar.
Thank you for going Ishtar instead of Waterworld.
Well,
that movie still bangs.
My father made me go see Waterworld when it came out because he said, I want to see what the most expensive movie ever made, like what they do with the money. And we watched and he walks like, wow, that was a bad movie. I'm like, I know.
I thought it was great.
It was terrible.
So ambitious.
That's also why Mike said he wants to watch the Lord of the Rings series on Amazon.
Yeah, I want to see how expensive.
How $50 million an episode looks.
Yeah. My guess is catering.
Not if they're handing out Dasani.
You
on
mean
the
it's
Game
not
of
like
Thrones
containers of peanut butter pretzels and lifesavers?
Oh, you've seen our spread. Welcome to the height
Would
of the
it kill
entertainment
you to do a
industry.
Costco run?
Cat's budget was $100 million, and they made worldwide $75 million. And that's
not counting the marketing
and
costs.
that's not counting marketing costs.
What
It's just,
percentage saw it ironically, like the Minions movie?
Well, that started happening
Minions.
almost immediately after it got released. Said, "Wow, this is a total dud. Let's go
The
make
Cats
fun
movie?
of Cats." I'm sure while they were filming it, they were like, "It'll come out clean in the wash after all the CGI and
Oh,
stuff." But the CGI was a big problem.
The trailer was incredible. It came out when I was on vacation with my sister a couple summers ago, and I sang memories to her like every night for 7 days. She wanted to kill me. It was a great trailer.
If you talk to actors, they'll actually tell you they don't know how the movie's coming out as they're filming it because it's filmed in such a way, as you know, that just they do it out of order. They do it in snippets. It's hard to imagine. But I can't imagine that the people doing Cats said, wow, But it's like, did Warren Beatty know about, right? Did he and Dustin Hoffman, did they say, oh my God, this just sucks? Like, we're in trouble here.
I think when you put on the outfit and you look at yourself in the mirror, you're thinking, no, this is not good.
What about in Total Recall when the guy's coming out of the stomach? Do you say, oh my God, that's cool? Like, this is going to play well?
Well, at least with
Cueto?
Yeah.
Isn't there like a part where you're like, well, they'll make it look cooler, right? Like, obviously, we're just shooting it for practical purposes like this, but it'll look cooler in post. Like with
they would have said that in Cats, though.
No,
hey, this is going to look really cool when I'm next to a cat and shh.
Such a strange movie.
Do you guys remember, like, right before it came out, when the rumors started coming out that the CGI wasn't finished yet, and it was like a day before they were delivering it to the studio or something? That was a really exciting day on Twitter.
I'll tell you an exciting day on Twitter when they had the first trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, yeah.
And creepy Sonic, who makes an appearance, by the way,
in the Chippendale movie.
In the Chippendale movie.
I with human
it.
teeth. the human teeth Sonic.
Oh,
bad CGI.
You see a lot of bad movies.
That's his side hustle.
I know. That's your hustle.
That's the main hustle.
That's how you afford everything
I don't know if
you
you have to
afford.
look at the numbers recently. I mean,
that's how you get illustrators to give you pieces of art. All the side hustles. Hey, look at that Van Gogh. That guy's a good illustrator.
Pretzels must have been salty.
Yeah.
David has watched The Rehearsal. He's watched all 6 episodes, and he has notes that I did not know about post the finale. Now, Jess, do you know about anything about the finale other than what you saw?
No, I watched the finale. I haven't read any reviews of it. I've just sat with it for like 5 days.
Did you watch it in a week by? Did you binge it or go
week by week?
Okay, so I watched all 6 in a row. So that's an interesting question, is whether or not we are reacting to the show differently because of the way we watched it, where I did it in one sitting.
You must be in a weird headspace right now then.
It stayed with me. So I started it yesterday and finished it yesterday. And I didn't know anything about him. I'd never seen Nathan For You. Had you seen Nathan For You before you started?
Every single episode.
Love Nathan For You.
Okay, so you knew what you were up for then.
100%.
No, I didn't know what I was in for.
I guess what he's saying is, you know, Nathan's style.
I know his style. I know that
Right.
it was going to be awkward. I wasn't quite prepared. My wife had seen every episode of Nathan For You with me, and she's out on The Rehearsal. I have to watch it on my own because she thought it was way too uncomfortable.
I'd never heard of him, by the way.
Really? Well, I think what you mean is like his style, where he's kind of playing himself, but he's also a character, and he's also setting people up for stuff that they might not know they're being set up for. Right? Is that
Didn't know any of
what
that.
Because that's kind of Nathan For You.
Yeah.
And they're kind of making fun of.
I didn't know that
regular
even
people.
now.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a no-brainer that he started working with Sacha Baron Cohen after Nathan For You. He's was a producer and writer on the most recent Borat movie.
Nice.
Right, you're telling me something that I didn't know while binging The Rehearsal.
See, that would be
I was not
quite
aware.
shocking.
I can't believe you didn't go very nice there.
Very nice.
There you go.
I
I don't like it.
Wait, are you telling me The Rehearsal is not real?
Oh,
Are you telling me the people in The Rehearsal did not know they were in a TV show?
They knew they were in a TV show. They didn't know what the TV show was. They thought the TV show was about helping them do things, right? And instead, it's a TV show where we're laughing at these people.
Wait, so it's an unscripted. The Rehearsal was unscripted?
Well, it's scripted for the actors. Right? All the actors are.
So there's like marks, but then there's also
Wait,
hired
you didn't
actors.
know like Angela is a real person and.
Time out.
Wait, David.
No!
Time out. Stop.
Angela's
Stop.
an actor too, by the way, if you read up on
taping. Are you telling me there's people in The Rehearsal who are not actors?
Yes. So
you're telling me
my
that
man
Remy
Orange,
was not an actor, just a kid they got off the street?
that's a real person, yes.
Well, all actors are real people.
No. Like some
His
people.
name is Remy.
Well, okay, let's differentiate actors versus people playing themselves. Like, there's actors that they hire to be characters, and then there's people in the show that are playing themselves.
Oh, hold on.
Great question.
Let me
That's
clarify.
not an actor.
So
That's not an actor.
My man in episode 1, Orange Juice, right? Like, I'll have a rum and coke and an orange juice. I can't remember his name.
Core Skeet.
Skeet, yeah, right? He is a real person. He answered a Craigslist ad about like, hey, we're shooting a TV show helping people overcome their fears or whatever. And so he actually wants to tell his friend, this is a real person. These are real people. Now, the people Nathan hires to play, like, you know, as he rehearses, He's got the fake Skeet there, right? And the fake friend and all that. Those are actors, right? But Remy is an actor, but because he's a child, he actually thinks like he cannot separate my job from my real life.
But so that's in general, like child actors, the guy who's now suing for being naked on the cover of the Nirvana album, right?
Yeah,
your parents are totally manipulating you. All child actors the same, just to steal your money.
He lost that, by the way.
Yes.
Why?
Because his penis looks nothing like it did then. And
was that what the judge ruled?
No, I don't think that was the official rule.
That's the unofficial holding of the case.
Because how would they know?
People are not hurting. Well, that was his claim, right? That he was exposed to an entire group of people.
What I think what really undid him was that he had given plenty of interviews along the way.
Happy that he had done it.
Wore it as a badge of honor.
That's the one of those who's sitting around smoking with his friends. Like,
I'm not sure.
You ever try suing them for using that without your consent, bro? Like, that's a great idea.
I'm not sure they got to discovery on that one, really. I don't think the judge looked at his penis.
I don't know how to talk about the rehearsal right now.
Well, I think one of the main...
well, what did you think it was?
I thought it was a TV show. A brilliant TV show.
So you thought it was all scripted?
I thought it was a completely scripted TV show where he was taking you on different levels. It was very Inception-like to me.
It is.
Wow.
About all the... Is this a rehearsal?
This must rock your world.
I'm, which does not happen to me often. I'm speechless. I noticed the different actresses who played the same role because there were different rehearsals going on.
How did you miss that? I guess it's because... Well, the premise, but maybe he just thought the premise was fake. If you're familiar with Nathan Fielder's work,
I wasn't.
Then you know that this is the angle.
So so I was told by several, right? This is like 30 people had all tweeted at me saying, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need water? This is right from the peanut butter."
He's fine.
Okay,
don't
that's
worry
normal?
about him.
Okay, well, I'm worried because I'm close to him and I feel like I'm in the movie theater in Outbreak right now.
Yeah, but you know,
you've been coughing all day, David.
No, but I do this. I do this.
When others of us choke, Amin doesn't get concerned, so he's fine.
Okay.
This is great because yesterday, Tony had a chip lodged in his throat.
Oh, the shark.
Like an actual? So he actually choked. That requires stopping taping.
But then what happened? What happened, Tony?
I powered through it. I went like this. And all of a sudden it went down. 2 seconds, I was in and out. I had 2 coughs, 1 throat, and then I was done.
Would you have been willing to go for a third, or would you have panicked and required help?
Oh, no. I'd go for as long as I can.
Before what? Passing out
Before
or asking
I die,
for help?
yeah. Before I die.
That's terrible. That's the worst plan ever. You've got it when you're choking.
Didn't
You
get that
gotta
far.
reach out.
Let's rehearse it.
Didn't get that far. So.
Let's we can rehearse it.
Am I right?
That's what I thought the show was. Just so you know, I thought the show was about that he has a situation and the whole bit is that he then rehearses it. He builds the whole set, the whole bar set that's built.
Yes.
I mean, that is the bit, but there is one very real person in the middle of it.
Okay,
so he
that
would put
was
out
never
ads.
told.
He would maybe you needed to know that before because like Nathan for you, that's what he would do. He'd put out like things on Craigslist or whatever where people would say, "Oh, I have this struggling business, I need help with whatever." So he would find people who were in somewhat
like
dire or desperate situations seeking help.
But in the rehearsal, correct me if I'm wrong, Billy, he does mention that this is a real person. Are you just maybe
He said in the first episode?
I thought that was part of the show.
Yeah, if you thought
you didn't believe him.
He
You
just
thought
thought
that
I
this
thought
is
that was
scripted.
verite. You thought it was just done.
That's
in
what
that
you're
style.
rehearsing. You're rehearsing someone who wants to be a mom. You're rehearsing someone who wants to tell his brother that you're not going to get the money from the.
Here. So Nathan, for you, a great example. There's a pizza place and they're struggling, and so they answer the Craigslist call of like, "Hey, we're doing a TV show to help. We've got a guy who can help turn your business around." So Nathan goes and said, "This is what we're going to do. We're going to start a new promotion that if we don't deliver the pizza within 15 minutes, you get a free pizza." And the guy's like, "How are we going to be able to? We can't. There's impossible to make a pizza and deliver it within 15 minutes. Like here's what we do. You make the pizza, you deliver it. Of course, you're going to be late. So then they ask for where their free pizza is, and you give them one. It's literally the size of a cookie with a little box and everything. Here's your free pizza. So they still have to pay for the pizza that they got, and here's the free pizza. So it's a lot of silly kind of bending the rules loopholes, and he has that deadpan delivery. It's like, well, I think this is a great idea, So that is the premise of the show. So there were real people, real businesses. There was
There's an ice cream place, and he makes poop-flavored ice cream to get people to come to it.
A TV place that was giving away free TVs, but you had to crawl through a dog door, and there was an alligator on the side.
The psychic realtor was one of the best, and they do an exorcism on the house.
Yeah.
Like, they were all real, but Nathan was fake.
This is like Candid Camera a little bit.
Not really, because they know they're on camera, but they just...
It's a new
But they don't know that Nathan's not in on...
No, they
assume he's a well-intentioned person.
They think he's being sincere.
Trying to help them with
so
they don't know it's a TV show?
They know it's a TV show, but they think it's like a TV show like
a Flip This House.
Bar Rescue.
Yeah, like Bar Rescue. They think it's like Bar Rescue, but Nathan is just making fun of them.
And did you go into the rehearsal knowing that it was the same concept?
I knew his work, and I knew he was going to do a show that was going to be a reality show.
It was the publicity for it beforehand was very unclear. Basically, like 3 or 4 weeks before, he just put out like on social media like the rehearsal and then the date. So then there's like buildup because Nathan For You hasn't been on for years. So if you like the show, you're like, oh wow, he's getting another show. I wonder what it's going to be. But it was like really unclear what it was. So you go into it not knowing what the show is.
So now with that knowledge, knowing that child actor has blurred the lines of reality to the point where, spoiler alert,
that was his real mother then?
Yes.
And that was a real situation because that's what happened after the finale. I read a bunch of articles where there is a major controversy going on that he went over the line and had a problem with this kid. And may have done I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about pedophilia. I'm talking about just
exploitative.
He exploited the kid. And I read the article and I'm like,
it's more than exploitative.
People are way too serious. Like, what are they talking about? This is a child actor who was all part of a show.
Right.
But now I'm hearing totally differently.
No, he was a child actor who was part of a show, but then the show ended and the child could not, he's too young to understand that was just make believe. He's thinking, but I want to hang out with daddy. And it's like, I'm not.
Wait, so did he call Nathan daddy in the show or in real life?
Both.
He called Nathan daddy in the show. The show's over, the show that they were doing, which is with Angela and all that.
Right.
But the kid could not conceive of, hey, all right, that was pretend. Now life is over. So he's complaining to his mom, as we saw, I want to hang out with daddy.
So that was real or not real?
That part was real.
Oh my God.
That part was real.
I'm done. Did Linda Blair not know that doesn't that your head can't spin like that?
My favorite part is, like, I'm watching this and I'm like, oh Lord, this is really bad because this kid doesn't know the difference. And then Nathan says, where'd you buy that sweatshirt? To the mom. And she says, buckle. And then next thing you know,
they do the whole rehearsal. Like, it's just unbelievable.
That's why I thought it was a show.
And he paints his nails.
He painted his tattoos. She had the tattoos.
Yes.
And the actresses playing the mother in the rehearsal had the tattoos as well.
Well, she wasn't an actress. She's actually the mother.
You're telling me now, and I'm hearing the words you're saying, and I cannot believe it.
I think you need to rewatch it now.
I'm never watching it again. Like it's not as brilliant as I thought it was.
It's more brilliant. It's terrible as from a moral standpoint, but it's next level brilliant.
I was going to review it as next level brilliant, but you are making it so he was.
He's a monster.
He's a monster.
He's a monster.
Well,
yes.
I think
hilarious monster.
The real conversation that's come out of it is whether or not child actors or actresses can really consent and what their parents should or should not be allowed to do. And so in this situation, the mom allowed this 3-year-old son who maybe didn't know what acting was or wasn't to participate in the show with Nathan, who was playing his dad, but didn't have a father figure in his actual life.
Right.
So that line was really blurred for him and he didn't understand
what
was
Olsen
fake
twins?
And what was real. Well, so there are states, California and New York being 2 of them, where there are child actor laws that are you're supposed to put 10% of your earnings in a trust, stuff like that, because there was very famous cases of parents like
Drew Barrymore, right?
Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman, I think.
Macaulay Culkin.
Child actors being upset that their parents basically exploited them, and they had this really weird upbringing, and then kept all the money, and they didn't get anything of it, even though it was their labor.
Right.
And so there's certain states where there's some protections, I guess. Maybe they're not strong enough now, but there's other states where there's none. And now with parents on YouTube or social media
TikTok,
that are making a lot of money off of content about their children, there may not be any protection in place, and the lines really blurred about what your kid's doing and who's making money off of it, and whether or not they can consent.
But Jess, here's the problem. All that is financial protection.
Yes,
right?
that's what I was just gonna say.
Like,
We're talking
okay,
about their mental well-being.
Yeah, like this
100%,
kid,
yes,
let's just
100%.
assume he gets to keep all the money that they made for making the show, and they made millions of dollars in residuals and all that. That's not going to fix the trauma.
Yes.
Of believing like,
that's why a lot of critics have problems with the finale of the show, because there's what law do you put in place that undoes this if this ends up becoming a long-lasting psychological damage on this 3-year-old kid?
Does it make me awful that, like, as I was uncomfortable and all this is unraveling, I'm like, I bow before you, sir. You are a king among us in content creation. That is amazing. It's terrible, but it's amazing. That's why I said it's next level genius, evil genius, but genius nonetheless.
That's kind of what the point of the show was, though, I guess.
Was it?
To make you think about it at the end?
No, that wasn't
his monologue at the end.
That wasn't the point of the show, Jess. The point of the show, like, I think the show evolved, right? Like, the point of the show was supposed to be a different rehearsal in a different, with
I don't know. I think that they did that first episode just to kind of like get you slowly into what was going on, because like the first episode was the closest to Nathan for you that the entire season was.
Yes.
And you then thought every week we're going to do another one of these, and then
they did
totally
because
different.
the second one was Angela, the third one was the brother, right, who's trying to prove to his other brother that like he's not into
the gold digger,
a gold digger or whatever,
his inheritance.
But because the Angela was so fascinating as a character.
But that one was always going to be a long con, because like even if they followed the script, it was like a week for every 3 years or something like that, right? So like you were at least going to be 6 to 8 weeks into this.
But we don't know how long each one of these is taking. Like, again, think about this. Think about how long it took them to build that bar. Think about how long it took them to build the replica of the dude's house. Think about how long it took them to
the acting class.
The acting class. Like, all of this stuff takes time. It's just edited down to a very quick.
Well, that's why I don't know if maybe the part with Angela was the most interesting, so they stretched that into a season arc.
That's what I'm saying.
After the
like,
fact, or
because
maybe they went into it like, we're gonna start this way and lure everyone in with this Nathan for you-esque.
Is Angela the tattooed lady?
No, Angela is
she
the one who thinks Google
the
is
Jesus
the devil.
freak.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's a real. Say this again, because I still cannot.
Angela's
get
a
this.
real person.
She's not an actress.
She's not an actress.
She's on Cameo.
She's on Cameo now. Yeah.
Well,
how about
So is Billy.
I'm not reviewing the rehearsal now.
He's doing a fantasy football special, right?
The Jewish tutor.
Yes.
Who it was like
that's not an actress either.
No. So
she came in to tutor what she thought was an actual boy.
Well, no,
it was an actual boy.
She knew the
Well,
boy.
true.
She knew the boy is an actor, because he explains to her, we're doing this thing. We're helping this woman try to figure out whether or not she can adopt a child or not, or have a child or whatever. But she doesn't agree with kind of Judaism or whatever. And like, I feel like this child needs to be exposed to that.
So her anti-Semitic ravings and rantings is not a script.
No.
Correct.
No. Who, Angela? The
Yes.
anti-Semitic? No, yeah, that's
Likewise,
that's real.
what the teacher says
What
at
the
the
teacher
end
said,
of the
yeah.
episode was not
Is not scripted.
scripted.
And we know
as far
this.
As we know.
We
As
don't
far
know
as-
this.
As far as we know, but like
I think it seems like that's real.
that's how he does his shows.
Yeah.
The boyfriend with the numerology, that was also a real person.
Real person.
Yeah, that's
Vice
a real
found him.
person.
Vice
Died on
found
the
him,
cross,
interviewed him.
3-3.
Wait, when he's taking bong rips, right? That was not scripted.
No.
When he drinks and drives and texts and drives, that was in a car without realizing that he wasn't
Well, I think
told
Nathan
to do
ended
that.
up
Yeah,
driving.
I think production stepped in there and was like, Nathan, you got to drive. But yeah, him thinking that you don't need a license plate to drive was real.
Right. All of
And
that.
you read this, or you're
Yes.
speculating?
No, I Vice caught up with the guy, interviewed him.
I'm done.
And
that it ruins it all for me.
It ruins it?
It ruins it all for me.
Like, to me, if it were all scripted and it was
I thought it was
just a TV
brilliant
show,
of him. I thought he was brilliant. It's brilliant
Like
to
a
find
brilliant-
a pothead who breaks laws, right? Who pretends. So he thinks he's going there. Did he really leave the house when he wasn't going to have sex?
Yes. Yes.
It can't
Like,
be.
how about the night owl? The guy who falls asleep 5 minutes into the
No,
shift.
that.
All
But,
that's real.
But hold on. It was probably more than just the not having sex. It was also like, why am I getting up every
Well,
2 hours for a robot baby that's crying? Like,
yeah.
what am I
So he
doing
said
with
that.
my life?
And
Why would he even walk in the house?
In the Vice interview, he said, like, they exaggerated the baby's crying. It was louder and it was every 5 seconds. Like, it wasn't like a real baby. He's like, he said, I was led to believe that it would mirror a real baby somewhere else.
Well, Nathan, they showed you that behind the scenes. Nathan was in the garage with the guy operating the fake baby. Baby.
And
he was like, make it really annoying. And so they like did it extra.
You can get an actual baby to be that annoying.
Well,
Like,
they couldn't because of child labor laws.
Yeah, they couldn't because
he could have brought his own. Does he have kids?
Nathan, I'm gonna guess no.
No, because that's like the point of this. It's
Wait,
like
that's his real. He's really deciding whether he wants to be a father.
I think he puts some of his personality into the show. In the season 4 finale of Nathan For You, it gets really serious and earnest. And I don't know Nathan Fielder's personal life. He's like kind of talked about, like, he's divorced, like not a ton of details, but like you kind of assume that there's a little part of it that he's injecting into it about like maybe he's not as lonely as his character's pretending to be, but like he feels some of that and he's putting that back into this.
His mom, when his mom is talking to him, like, this is why your other relationship didn't work out and all that. Like his mom, that's real.
Those were his actual parents.
Those are the actual parents.
All right. So I may rewatch it now just for fun, but I am extremely disappointed.
Wasn't very fun.
I don't know how you could be disappointed. I'd be disappointed if I found out they were all actors and this was all scripted. To me, what makes it amazing is, first of all, that there are people like this, but second of all, his ability to stay in character throughout all of this and not break, not even once. I'm staggered by it. And their ability to continue as things are developing in real time to say, okay, let's shift it in this direction. So Jess, to your point, I don't think he started with like, hey, I want to see how it is to be a father. I think as this thing is happening, he's like, yo, wouldn't it be funny if now Nathan takes this and internalizes this? I want to see what fatherhood is like without Angela.
Did the guy have a drug overdose?
No. That was an actor.
You're saying, wait a minute, you're saying no like it's impossible. We just spent 20 minutes talking about.
He was in the episode later.
Yeah.
He crawled back out of the slide after he like went down. Yeah.
Okay.
But he had a drug. He didn't have a drug overdose, but Angela definitely was dancing like a maniac to the dumbest song.
Like the video of her when the kid's leaving. So none of it's scripted. Whatever. All right, I'm past it because there's so much other stuff to talk about. But I'm despondent.
You have to watch Nathan For You now.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to ponder that. I don't know if I want to reward him. He's hurt me. I thought he was one of the most brilliant people I'd ever seen.
What he did to the kids.
Right, those damn
Maybe
kids.
It's not Nathan For You then.
Nathan may not be for me. But the whole thing about Remy, that was 2 bad ones for Jessica today.
Really, I'm on a heater. That was like 7 bad ones in a row.
Speaking of heaters, I may watch it. So I had all these people saying, hey, watch it. Like, you're going to love it and review it for me on Nothing Personal. So I wanted to do it. And I was going to give it the greatest review here on the LeBatard Show. And now I'm not.
Doesn't it make it smarter to you?
No, makes it less smart. I thought he wrote it all. I thought he literally wrote it all.
It's such a much more ambitious project because you can't account for what real people are going to do. They're not trained actors.
But he may have filmed 25 different real people and chosen one that finally took the bong hit.
That's
right. So there's no way to ever know.
He had the guy that went on the date with Angela, whose biggest fear in the world is eels, and then that's all we saw of that person. So like they were cast. He was looking for people who were the strangest.
It's like people go on Springer, right? Like they're looking for a particular kind of person.
But we know going in. Listen, it's like with wrestling. If you thought that wrestling was not fixed and then discovered it was fixed, how would you feel? If you became a fan of it because you thought it was real competition and then you find out it's fixed. How about highlight?
But you're doing you're doing the opposite. You're saying
careful.
You're doing the opposite. You're saying I thought wrestling was scripted. And now I'm finding out it's not. Like they're just actually all.
No, I'm talking about the concept. Yeah, when you believe that something is a certain way, and then you find out it's not.
I think it depends. Like it to me, some of this stuff makes it. To me, it raises it. It raises like Mike said, the ambition level, and it raises the stakes.
I'm different,
but it also it makes it a lot meaner, for sure.
I'm the one who was pissed off in Bohemian Rhapsody when I found out that Queen had never actually broken up and that their first show back was not Live Aid, where they needed a detente. And like, I get upset about that.
But we talked about this last week. All music biopics are terrible because they're so whitewashed and like it just is so dumb. And all it is nostalgia. It's playing on the nostalgia of you guys remember these songs, right? All right, what if we did a whole movie? And this is how Bohemian Rhapsody happened, and this is how We Will Rock You. No, that's not how any of that happened. But it sounds good because people just want to hear the song and imagine things. Same thing with Rocket Man. Same thing with what's that other one?
There's so many.
Rocket Man was it was an odd movie, but it at least was a little bit more honest than some of the other ones.
He didn't leave the garden to go to rehab. I do know that. In any case, the point is,
but at least it was honest about the rehab and some of his warts. Not the case at all with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Straight Outta Compton was the other one.
But now I'm concerned because I was going to review tomorrow, and I don't want to do it today.
What?
But the new George Michael documentary.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Okay, so if I find
I'm in on that.
It's called Uncut, Freedom Uncut. We'll talk about it tomorrow. But if you come to me tomorrow and tell me that none of that is real, it's gonna completely ruin it for me.
It's not gonna because it's a documentary. Presumably, they're not going to take creative licenses in the way that Bohemian Rhapsody did, but it's definitely going to be polished up, right?
One of the best documentaries I was just talking about, the Bee Gees one that was on HBO Max. It came out some time ago. It's a very good documentary. It is not at all super honest, especially when it comes to Andy Gibb and some of his addictions. They kind of gloss over that. It's still very interesting. It's still very revealing. The footage is great. The stories are great, but it's not completely honest.
Does glossing over make something dishonest? Not to me.
In my opinion.
It's an editorial decision.
I think if
it's not in good faith.
Yeah, it's not. And especially for many of these stories, it's a major part of why the person is the way they are, right? So you can't really tell the story of Bohemian Rhapsody and not talk about like some of what's my man's name?
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury's kind of like he's a
proclivities.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Like
oh, don't say that.
Well, I mean, but like okay,
he had different lifestyle choices.
He displayed the behaviors of a piece of shit.
No, I don't make that correlation. There were other things about Freddie Mercury that just weren't very nice to folks.
And, right. Everybody has that.
But that's part of like what made him him. You know, it's not like, oh, everyone's kind of, as it's been a dick from time to time, right? Like, that's a major kind of thread on how this person ended up being who they are. Imagine doing a Barry Bonds documentary or movie, biopic, and in it, just Barry's amazing. He's just amazing. And forget about not mentioning PED use. Not mentioning he was an absolute asshole to everybody.
The number one.
That's part of... Like it's inextricable. It's like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was an asshole. And there are people who, when you'd say that, well, like, oh no, I'm like, no, this is known. It's known.
So does it ruin it for you? Did you watch The Last Dance and say this is just fantasy? I didn't watch The Captain because I knew it wasn't real.
That's a perfect example.
Right. That's not a documentary, but I don't view those as documentaries. That's a fiction piece. Like Last Dance to me was not a documentary.
But this is what we're dealing with, I think, with many of these things, because the common thread in all of these productions is executive produced by, the guy who the story's about.
But I mean, we do get some insight into Michael Jordan being an asshole. Like I left the 10 hours going, Michael Jordan was a prick.
Wait, did you walk in thinking he wasn't?
I didn't really have enough. I just kind of know him from commercials, like Winter Guy and all that stuff. Like I actually, I don't know a lot about Michael Jordan. Yeah, I never saw Michael Jordan play basketball.
What? I didn't either.
Well, other than for the Wizards, but his last game was in 1998. I was 6.
I didn't either, but I grew up in Chicago when.
It's a big shout.
I'm with you. I didn't watch him play live ever. My dad had. He was a huge Bulls fan. But then I watched The Last Dance, and it added a little bit of context. And I don't think he came away looking amazing. He didn't look like a huge.
Wait, I thought it was fairly honest. I mean, other than the fact that
how do you know?
Well, I mean. Well, because I would have imagined that he would do it like Derek Jeter would have.
So do you know?
Derek Jeter would say it was honest, though.
I know, but Derek Jeter was like, oh, I grew up and I wanted to be the shortstop for the Yankees, and it was like all this aspirational. Like I thought it would be fortune cookie nonsense.
Do you know the story about his Hall of Fame enshrinement speech?
Yes.
Do you know like the extent of it?
I mean, he was basically he showed up to be a dick to people.
But like not like
Jeter or Jordan.
Jordan.
And he invited people so he could be mean to them.
So like
And
the guy he got cut for in high school, he flew the dude out and got him like great seats, sat him there, and then shouted him out in his speech and says, you know, Larry Smith or whatever his name was, like, I got cut for you. Yeah, that coach, I bet that coach knows he made a mistake now. Like that was it. It wasn't
super
like
bitter.
you helped me. Like you. It was just like I'm just shouting.
You
out just-
motivated me. You made me a better
Is that
basketball
narcissism?
player.
I mean, that happened probably 10 years ago because that was what the whole
2008.
crying
Yeah.
Jordan meme came out of. And that happened like in my adult consciousness. So I always knew like Michael
said-
Jordan was this guy who had this huge chip on his shoulder. And even though he had won 6 championships in the
6
NBA,
chips on his shoulder.
he still was like, I am the best, and everyone that doubted me still sucks, and I
He
haven't
said-
forgiven them.
He said to his kids, "I would hate to be you." And
I said to my kids, I didn't want kids.
I hate to be you is
Well-
worse than I don't want kids. I hate to be you means like, oh man, it must suck not being awesome. Like, and
Oh,
everyone
that's not what he meant.
That's exactly what he meant.
Like you don't have the skills I have on the court?
Like,
or
my-
you have to live in my shadow.
You have to live in my
Yeah,
shadow.
that's common.
And you'll
Actors
never
think that.
and you'll never be as great as me at anything. That's the gist of
Does it change your view of your heroes when you find out that they're just normal people?
Well,
'Cause
no, not when they're just
It
normal
depends, I
people.
think.
I think I would find it refreshing if they were just normal people. But there is this cliche: never meet your heroes because they'll often disappoint.
Because they're just normal people. Michael Jordan's not abnormal as a person. You
No,
think being narcissistic or being
I think he's over the
mean
top. He's over
or
the
being
top.
an asshole. Wait, you
he's
haven't come
over the
across non-famous people who are
No,
like that?
Not to that
There's
extent.
very unsuccessful dickheads.
Not to that extent.
There are.
But I
now you're
also,
just talking money though,
but I
right?
also
Or
imagine,
skill.
I also
Both.
imagine that the success feeds in a way. So like an unsuccessful dickhead hasn't had enough success to become a bigger dickhead. Whereas Michael Jordan's success is so great that it feeds the dickhead side of him.
Right.
It gets bigger and
So
bigger.
I've come across different.
So I'll tell you what, you asked great people who are normal people, Grant Hill for me. 'Cause, like to me, I don't understand how Grant Hill can be the way he is. Because
Do you know Calvin?
yes, I do know Calvin.
So that's, by the way, look at Calvin, and I want to say it was Janet.
Janet,
yeah,
she just passed away, by the way.
Yes, that's one of the reasons Grant can be Grant.
But so what I mean by that, so Grant Hill was at a time he's supposed to be the next Jordan. And I'm not talking about like just in college. I mean, when he got to the NBA, his first 6 years, everyone was like, this guy is going to be one of the 5 greatest players to ever play basketball. And then because of injuries that were mismanaged by first the Detroit Pistons and then the Orlando Magic, his career was destroyed and ruined. And then he comes to Phoenix, and that's how I got to know him. And he rebuilds his career as kind of a role player and stuff, and ends up in the Hall of Fame. But I caught Grant Hill like after all the bad stuff had happened. And in my mind, I'm like, if that were me, if the world were promised to me, like I earned it, I showed you guys, it's my mantle. And then because of not my mistakes, but mistakes that people were supposed to be looking out for me, it was all snatched away. I would be the most bitter asshole in the world. I would treat everybody like shit not because I'm better than them, but because I didn't get what was coming to me for reasons that were not my fault. And when I tell you this dude is the nicest, like he made me, this is the greatest compliment I can give. Grant Hill made me feel ashamed about the way I behave. That this guy can go through all that and still be cool, and I can be a dick because, you know, I didn't get along with someone I worked with or whatever. It made me feel bad. I was like, damn, man, like.
But there's people like that other than Grant Hill.
And you still haven't
but like
changed.
yes, exactly. Superstars, people of that ilk.
So he was never that, right?
What?
I wouldn't call him a
Grant Hill, 1998
listen,
Grant Hill.
I can,
1998 Grant Hill.
But you can't be a superstar with 1 year. Like Fernando Tatis for me is not a superstar yet.
1994 through 2000 Grant
One of the
Hill.
great runs, and
6
I was a
years.
part. That was my. That's the
Sprite.
top of my NBA.
Fila,
right
right?
there. He was it, but not sustained.
6
But
years is pretty sustainable.
that gets you to free agency in baseball. It's pretty good.
I mean,
but it's not. It's above average, but it's not. Listen, that's not Penny Hardaway. He's not a great player. You can't consider him a historically great player. He just got derailed.
Right.
He was great when he played, but not long enough. I'm just commenting that we have heroes, and then we meet them, And we've met so many athletes and spent so much time, but we're in the front office. We're looking at them totally differently than when fans meet the athletes. Sure. Fans meet athletes, and the biggest problem they have is he didn't sign my autograph or he didn't make the winning shot. Right. We're dealing with them on the business side and on the personal side, and we're seeing things about them that say, we don't want to be around you, but boy, you're good at your job, therefore we have to be.
Right.
It's just a different world.
I suppose so, but I think, Charles Barkley's another one where this guy.
You think he could be bitter?
No. I mean, I think he could have been bitter, but it wasn't.
Why would he be bitter? Because he didn't win a ring?
Yeah, I mean, 25 years later, he's still having that tossed at him. They didn't win a championship.
It's part of his being. It's part of his thing now.
In 1996, the conversation was, who's the greatest power forward of all time? And there were two names. There were just two names on that list.
Karl Malone and Charles Barkley?
And
I would have said Leonard Truck Robinson.
Jeez. What's happened since then is that Charles has become a TV personality, and people kind of just like, yeah, whatever, dude. You weren't that good.
Wait, John Madden was a coach? It happens, right? When you have a second career, it happens.
But when people dismiss your original career, his career is dismissed by many. Charles Barkley wasn't that good.
You know Shaquille, right?
Yes.
Can you confirm this story that I heard that I tell as though it's true, and I tell it to players all the time?
Okay.
That Shaquille O'Neal, when he was coached by Lenny Wilkens, was not aware Lenny Wilkens was in the Hall of Fame as a player.
I've heard that. The problem with Shaq is that many of his stories are fictional stories created by Shaq himself. That's the problem. So Shaq has a story where David Robinson wouldn't sign an autograph for him when he was in high school at Cole High School in San Antonio, Texas. And for that reason, every time I play against David Robinson, I destroy him because he treated a child like it was nothing. And there's two problems.
It was a different David Robinson?
No, it was two problems. Number one, that's not David Robinson's character.
He may have been having a bad day, though. You know that.
Sure. But the second one, and this is the most important one, when Shaq was in San Antonio in high school, David Robinson wasn't a Spur. He was still in Navy. He was still in the Navy.
The Admiral.
Meaning he couldn't have gotten an autograph from him or wouldn't have been able to see him?
It never occurred. There was never a meeting.
So he got his timeline wrong.
No, he just made it up.
Oh, why would he make that up?
Because he's Shaq.
But why make up something about Lenny Wilkens?
Because he's Shaq.
That's like a tautology. I don't like that.
You want a great Shaq story? You want a great Shaq story? Training camp. We're in Palm Springs. Not training. It was either training camp or preseason. Either we're in Palm Springs, right? We have a breakfast meeting. Shaq walks into the meeting late, sweating, sits at my table. I'm at the table with the video guys and the rookies and like the fringe guys, right? Shaq sits at the table. He's calling out of breath or whatever. I'm like, big fella, where were you? He's like, I went out last night and because we're a couple hours from LA. So I had this girl pick me up. We went out in LA and we went out to dinner. And then I was like, I got to get back because I got camp in the morning. And on the way back, she tried to kidnap me. And she wouldn't let me go. And I said, no, I really have to go. And I was like, just stop the car. I'll get out. I'll find a way home. And she wouldn't stop the car. And so I had to, I grabbed the silverware from the to-go meal and I could threaten her with the knife. And that's how she stopped the car and she let me out. And the rookies and these guys are like, oh my God, I'm in the NBA. It's like training camp. And Shaquille O'Neal is telling me this wild story about how crazy people, women and all this stuff, they're spellbound. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, big fella, I've been to many a restaurant. Nicest, fanciest restaurants in the world. I still haven't been to the one where the to-go silverware is actual silverware. It's plastic. And he looks at me and this huge smile comes across his face. And I'm like, okay, what's the real story? He's like, I was just late getting back.
Right.
He likes to tell.
So he's an exaggerator, but the silverware is what gave that story away?
Yes.
Not the kidnapping part?
No, but
that seemed reasonable to you?
It's Shaq.
Plastic silverware. That's the problem with your story, Shaq.
Every Shaq story has an element where he's trying to let you know the shit ain't real. But
the autograph story seems more real to me,
No, but
though.
the problem is, there could also happen, right? So I'll give you,
not the kidnapping part.
So I'll give you, I don't know. Wait, I don't know this one.
You don't know that story?
What?
The Shaq Stevie Wonder story?
That Stevie Wonder can see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole point of you telling the story.
Yeah, right. I don't know the details of it.
Spoiler alert:
come
Stevie Wonder's
on.
not blind.
Yeah, but it's like Shaq said, like he says, nice
hold on,
shirt
let me,
or some shit.
hold on. Let me put it into, let me dress it up a little bit. So they're going in an elevator. They're in LA. They're in a hotel somewhere, and he's walking in with another player. They walk into the elevator. The elevator opens. It's Stevie Wonder. Shaq walks in, presses the number, and then Stevie Wonder says, "What's up, big fella?" Or some story like that he could see.
I got a better Stevie Wonder story. I know someone who saw Stevie Wonder at the studio outside of a vending machine trying to decide what to get.
How do you know there wasn't Braille?
He was staring at the machine.
Samson's like Lieutenant Columbo right now.
No, I'm just annoyed.
Well, you think there's Braille that spells out Doritos or something like that?
How else would they go to a vending machine when you're blind?
They don't.
They don't.
That is just wrong.
They don't. I'm just saying.
Okay, I worked with blind people.
There are blind vending machines?
Of course. I can't even. Okay. Do you know that most blind people, like the majority, it's not just like
it's not
black,
right? They can see a little bit. They can see shapes.
Shaquille O'Neal, it's not like saying the difference, is that Billy or is that Samson? Right? There's difference of a foot, right?
Yeah.
But not much else. Shaquille O'Neal is right?
Yeah.
And maybe he knew he was seeing him. It doesn't mean he can see, is all I'm saying.
I guess
Shaquille O'Neal is quite different. But getting back to it, I'm shocked by the rehearsal.
There is a new competing golf promotion. We didn't have enough. We have the PGA, we have Live Golf, and now there is this thing called the TGL, which Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods have announced in conjunction with the PGA. And we can certainly debate whether or not the in conjunction part of it has anything to do with the PGA negotiations that happened last week. I presume they have a large part to do with it. So here is what it essentially is. It is 15 regular season Monday night matches, followed by semifinals and finals starting in January of 2024. It is 6 teams of 3 PGA Tour players, a virtual course complete with a tech-infused short game complex. Every shot is live within a 2-hour primetime televised match. That is the basic layout of this new promotion. Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are starting a company together, and this is their first big foray. It's in conjunction with the PGA.
When I read tech-infused, I thought alcohol. I've never seen anything that's tech-infused, but I saw what Rory and Tiger are doing, and the first thing I thought of, 2 things were my immediate reaction. One, wow, the Saudis really did it. They got PGA to change. No one could do it. They never do anything. And then the second thing is whenever I see, like we didn't talk about Durant in the boardroom and having his logo. I did it on Nothing Personal, so check it out.
Yeah.
His logo on the press release was the #1 thing I've ever seen in my career. #1.
I laughed.
#1. But the player empowerment and how the rich get richer. Tiger and Rory starting a company to take advantage. So he turned down $1 billion from Liv, but he has now started a company that is because of what Liv did, and he's going to make a mint. Because he's working with the PGA. That's all this is.
It's funny because we think about player empowerment, we think about labor versus management, and we don't recognize that, Tiger Woods isn't labor.
He is total management, and so is Kevin Durant, and so is LeBron James. They all are, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. Not they all. The people, there are a select few. I shouldn't say they all. It's the top tier. But this whole thing with the PGA, could I argue, and I don't want to get canceled for saying how great Saudis are and their sovereign fund, but wow, they are helping. Yeah. They are helping golfers who are able to take the high road and say no to Live. They're benefiting by staying on the PGA because of the higher purses, more events, the tournaments like this, all of which is accruing and inuring to the benefit of their ability to earn money. I think they need to send a thank you note. Dear Sheik.
Dear MBS.
Thank you so much.
I mean, it's pretty gross, though. I mean, it's golfers are not exactly a group of people that needed help. Now, they've gotten the help.
They do, though. You're talking about just the top 1%, right? The majority of golfers on the tour, they barely make enough to cover their travel expenses.
It's funny because
Happy Gilmore barely saved his grandmother's house.
Barely. And he needed to deal with Barker to do it.
And Subway.
So listen, I happen to disagree with you on that, right? Like baseball, people think that baseball players are all rich or NBA players. Now, I agree with there's plenty of John Concacts, but the bottom line is the majority of professional baseball players need another job. Not just minor leaguers, like professional players who play for 2 years, they're then 25 years old, having made total career earnings of, now it's going to sound crazy, right? But total career earnings of $600,000. And people say, oh my God, that's so much money. True. But
can't live on it forever.
You can't. Well, there are people who never get that. And
right.
But they get jobs. So it's these golfers, the ones who are being helped by Live. I think what Tiger and Rory are trying to do, and the way you make the most money, the way rich people get richer, is by making poor people slightly less poor.
But even like, for example, the PGA also announced that the top players are going to be committing to compete in at least 20 events a season, and there will be 12 tournaments that have an elevated purse of $15 to $20 million. Is that, I mean, we're still sort of only helping the top guys.
Well, that's for broadcasting purposes, so that helps everybody, right?
Right.
So you've got to get out. The broadcast partners are saying, listen, we're paying so much money for PGA Tour events. I'm concerned right now that it's going to be club champions who are playing as the final foursome of the day in prime time. So by getting the top players to play, what you're doing is you're keeping the value of your broadcast rights up. It's why the NBA talks about load management on national TV games.
Right.
Right? You don't want to screw around when you're getting that much money. You have to have your best players playing.
But David, like, I think we all agree, and golf fans would agree, that the PGA model needed to change because they were hoarding a lot of the money and taking advantage of the lower earners, like you said. But I don't think when it comes to Live, you got to hand it to them. Like, they're not doing it for altruistic reasons.
No, but
it is an unintended consequence, perhaps.
Oh, interesting. Wait, unintended by the Saudis?
To make the PGA better?
Oh my God, yes. They could not care less about the PGA Tour.
Yeah,
but
so I'm saying, like, you don't gotta, like, we'll give them credit.
I was joking, like, dear Sheik, thank you. That was a joke.
Just making sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to write them a letter. I'm going to do it via Twitter. But I thought that it would happen. What if the Saudi Arabians and the Sovereign Fund, what if they started a new MMA league that forced Dana White to pay more than 20% of the revenue to his fighters? What would your view be? You'd say
that's actually a really interesting point, David. The PFL, Bellator, all these different promotions are trying to do the same thing, but I just feel like Dana has such a stranglehold on the top fighters in the world. It's not like the top golfers. You have 77 people that are really excellent, right? There's other people in other promotions that are good, but they're never going to be as good as the people in UFC.
But the other thing is that Bellator doesn't have the financial strength to be a threat to the UFC.
Or honestly, David, David, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's more the desire, or I guess the lack of care in losing money. Like the Saudis I've lost hundreds of millions of dollars on this, but they don't care. It's a long-term play for them.
Money.
Yeah. But it's also a long-term play for them, right?
What, Live?
Yeah.
No, I don't view it as a long-term play. They're not trying to be the PGA Tour. They're just trying to do as many legitimate things as possible to show that they're okay. Right? You don't bid for the Olympics, right? Saudi Arabia is trying to get the Olympics. You don't bid for the Olympics because you're going to make money, right? You do it because you're trying to be important.
So a weird version of this is Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona. Used to be a for-profit university, right? People.
What a horror.
There was, it was listed on the stock exchange. You could buy shares in it. They paid out shareholders all the time, and they were turning profit. It was printing money.
Surprised you use that as an example rather than the University of Phoenix.
No, because this is why. Grand Canyon University at some point figured out we'll make more money if we become a quote unquote legitimate university. So they went not for profit, and the first thing they did was, we need a sports program. We need athletics because that's going to legitimize us. And that's the difference between them and University of Phoenix. University of Phoenix doesn't have a basketball team. Grand Canyon does. And they went out and hired Dan Marley to be the coach. And now Scott Drew.
Thunder Dan.
Yeah.
Because
Bryce
Thunder Dan
Drew.
lives in the neighborhood?
Well, because it's a long story. But yes.
How, does it end with he lives in the neighborhood and
no,
he'll do it?
It ends with they paid him a shit ton of money to do it because they could do that. They could throw money at him.
But if he didn't live in the neighborhood, would they have offered it to him? I'm going to die on this hill. Dan Marley taking the Grand Canyon job to me seems like a marriage made in heaven.
Well, look, here's the deal. Like, Dan at the time was an assistant coach with the Suns, and the relationship wasn't great at the time. And so here comes Grand Canyon, which, by the way, they got Jerry Colangelo to kind of be the unspoken guy, the silent man behind the scenes. And Jerry Colangelo says, hire Dan Marley and pay him one of the highest paying jobs in all of mid-major basketball. And that's how. And now
one of the great jobs in the world is to be Jerry Colangelo,
or is to work,
right when
to
you
work for Jerry.
When you are paid to just because of your experience and to give an opinion about something that A, you don't care about, B, you don't care what the ramifications, but you just, hey, who should we hire? What do you think? What do you think about Dan Marley? Well, that'll be $250 for my 10 minutes of thought. And the answer is yes, hire Dan Marley if you pay him a lot.
He's more hands-on. He's very hands-on, right? So, but they did all of this because they wanted to be a D1 basketball school, and they are D1 now. And
how long did it take?
Like 5 years.
Good
6
plan.
years,
the 5-year plan.
But the idea is that they did it all, Chris, not because, hey, it's going to start paying dividends immediately. They did it because they said this is going to buy us legitimacy. And I think that's what Saudi Arabia is doing. They're trying to buy legitimacy and say, look, if your favorite golfers play here and they like golf, and if you watch the Olympics, and everyone's going to forget. The World Cup coming
up in Qatar, yeah.
It's
but
they're buying legitimacy for other business reasons.
The part that I don't understand about this is, I mean, I guess they have money burning a hole in their pocket. They just want to spend it. But I feel like these things only shine a light further on, like, if Qatar did nothing in the world of sports, they would just be a country in the Middle East that I never thought about. Now they're making me think about Qatar, and the first thing that I think of with them and the Saudis is like all the human rights violations and the people that
you're not the guy, Chris, right? They're trying to get people to do business with them, right? They do billions of dollars of business, and they want people to feel better about doing business with them. Not you to have heard of them or to not have thought about them and now to think about them, or for you to think about their human rights violations. They don't care about you or me or any of us. They're doing huge billion-dollar deals with corporations.
But they attract more scrutiny, don't they? As a result of like these things being out in the public, like there's far more media attention to these countries than a similar like. I guess the UAE also participates in sports washing through the City Football Group, but the UAE doesn't have nearly the attention that Saudi Arabia or Qatar has.
I'm trying to remember one of the owners of the Oklahoma City Thunder was one of the biggest proponents behind Prop 8 in California, which was to ban gay marriage. This is years and years. They weren't supporting. They were trying to influence law in a state that's not their own, that they have no control over or connection to, because of their own
He was the religious zealot, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the idea here is, though, being an owner of a sports team, you might say, oh, well, now that opens up to scrutiny. We find out that you're behind a lot of these campaigns. But the reality is the access that they gain far overreaches whatever extra scrutiny they get for being in the spot.
Have you ever talked about Gail Benson on this show?
I don't believe we have.
We might have mentioned what happened with her involvement in the Catholic Church once or twice.
Talking as owner of the Saints, her involvement in covering up the pedophilia is well known and major. And so she has football washing, right? So there are people who do things as a loss leader, if you will, to really accomplish other things they're trying. What Saudi Arabia is trying to do, they really don't care about the Live Tour, I must say. They didn't say, hey, I want to start a golf tour. They have much bigger billion-dollar business issues in mind. And to them, this is a way, this sovereign fund was sort of developed in order to spend money. It's sort of like a government. For those of you against public financing, governments, local governments, their job is to spend money on things to make people feel better about the community in which they live. Saudi Arabia's sovereign fund is developed to try to make investments that will make people feel better about doing bigger business with Saudi Arabia. That's always been my take.